Welcome in. It's 9 to noon. It's a football Friday, and it is going up. I'm Billy Schmid, Armin Sarian inside the iHeart Megaplex Studios, and John Coon with all of you on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line, and probably on your iHeart Radio app as you might be crossing, and hopefully you timed it up better so you're not hitting rush hour traffic in Chicago, going through Northwest Indiana, trying to hit Indianapolis. You're driving down to Nashville as Broadway gonna be invaded by some cheeseheads this weekend. Packers and Titans Sunday, a noon boom from Nissan Stadium, and John Coon gonna be on the sidelines for that game. And will it be Jordan Love on the sidelines? Will it be Jordan Love inside, but in between those white lines? We shall see. But John, it is the story that everybody's talking about outside of last night. Maybe the greatest game ever played by Shohei Ohtani. And, oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers looked like 2014 Aaron Rodgers last night. A lot to talk about, a lot of fun stuff on a Football Friday. But rarely do we start a Football Friday talking about baseball. But I just cannot get Shohei Ohtani 6 for 6, 10 ribbies, 3 bombs, and completing the first ever 50-50 season in one game out of my mind.
Yeah, I went out. We had a men's day yesterday at the golf course.
Okay, come on now.
Nice 1 o'clock shotgun, and afterwards there's food available. It's the last one of the year, so it was. Oh,
so y'all do it upright? I can assume.
Yeah, it was kind of a fun, big event, deal type thing. Sitting there at the dinner after golf, and I see Shohei, first player to reach 50-50. I looked over, I said, damn, he not only stole a base in this game, but he hit 2 home runs.
I thought he was too
contraire.
Yeah,
contraire. He was not done at that. He's not the first player to go 50-50. He's the first player to go 51-51 because 50 wasn't enough. He had to go for some more. 3 home runs, 6 for 6, 10 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. The greatest game ever played by a baseball player. Think about that. Not only does he reach a feat that nobody has reached before in Major League Baseball, but he does it with the greatest game ever played.
It's crazy.
By a baseball player. That is, just and going on to the phone and checking the box score and saying, oh, wait, he hasn't even had an out yet. This man is on fire. And then following it through the night and how he finished it. What an amazing feat. What an amazing season for Shohei Ohtani.
Dude, we're watching it at the Football Feast, and I thought it was a replay. Like I thought it was a replay of the first homer, his third homer. And then I realized that that's one of the greatest home runs I've ever seen. Like, I don't care that it was off a position player, and you could have maybe put it on a tee for how slowly it was coming in. He hit the thing like 15 rows back in the third level. Like, I don't care what he's hitting it off of. That's one of the greatest games of all. Listen to some of these stats from Optima Stats. Since the RBI became an official stat in the 1920s, so Armin, gatekeepers in Major League Baseball will be okay with this.
The modern
one, right?
era, we're not talking about the Cleveland Spiders and all these guys. The modern era.
1898 when
the live ball era.
They
used to get the ball back from the that was the dead ball era. They used to get the ball back from the crowd because they only had one to play with.
That's fantastic. Only one MLB player has had over the course of his entire career a game with 10 ribbies, a game with 6 hits, a game with 5 extra base hits, a game with 3 homers, and a game with 2 stolen bases. Shohei did it all in one game.
And he had 5 extra bases, which is incredible. He had 2 doubles as well. I mean, that's an incredible feat, obviously, the incredible production. He had 3 hits before he had a homer in this game.
No player in 100 years has done all of those feats. He did all of them in one day.
Yeah, he did them in one game, not one day. God. You can have double headers. He did it in one game.
One game.
He did it in one game. The total bases Shohei Ohtani has been reached before. But if you look, they have all been reached by players who have hit 4 home runs.
Right, 4 home runs. And he almost got that triple, right? Because he got thrown out
at third, trying to get the.
That would have been the extra base. But you're right. Other guys have had 4 home runs. We talked about the one before the show about
Sean Green,
who did it in Milwaukee.
4 bombs in Milwaukee.
Guys have had great games. I remember 21 years ago yesterday, a 40-year-old Randy Johnson hitting his only homer at Miller Park. So guys have had great games, pitching, batting. Obviously, there's been great games. I'm not going to, I can go dig up the Babe Ruth game log.
No, Armin, greatest game ever. Yeah, you have to say. I will not let you off this air without saying that was the greatest game ever played.
It's the multiple stolen bases as well that I think sets it apart. No one's ever done that, as you said, Billy. And I always think this, right? I always think of this as well. He had the pressure of trying to reach an accomplishment. that was on kind of like, trying to get to 50 homers and stuff.
They were cutting in live on SportsCenter to watch it. Yeah.
It wasn't like
this was
didn't happen.
very much like when Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going on their runs. The only difference is we don't, suspect something or some shenanigans with this. In fact, of those 6 players who have had that total base number in a game, Armin, is it 14? Can you please figure out that total base number?
Let me just
14,
check.
I believe it was. But out of the 6 players who have achieved that before, 4 of them have been confirmed or suspected, highly suspected, of that era of baseball that we tend not to speak of as much. So that's what's amazing about this. Like he did this in a way that only players that were gassed up with gassed up baseballs were doing this.
Yeah, Sean Green's 19 total bases, from according to what I'm reading, are the all-time steal game record, according to this article from the Athletic. Anthony Rendon, Edgardo, Alfonso 99, Jimmy Fox, Ty Cobb all enjoyed 6 for 6 games, but they did it with fewer total bases than Green and Ohtani. So Ohtani second there. So Ohtani's still has not reached the total base record, but it's just an incredible feat. As we know, the
more meat on the
bases,
bone. Sounds like something he'll try to go do.
And they pop Vouv, which is the very expensive champagne. See, that's the difference in LA.
Oh, okay.
When they win, they have Vouv, the really expensive champagne. We have Miller High Life. I think that's the difference in the clubhouse.
I'm pretty sure they had Vouv at Miller Park too.
I don't know, man. I saw Andre.
It's only like $55
I saw some
a
Andre,
bottle.
yeah.
How much is it, John?
It's only like $55 a bottle.
Well,
I'm pretty sure
that's
these
a
pro
well,
teams.
That's a lot for some. I'm not everyone's.
Yeah.
Gonna pay 55.
It's a lot if me and you go out there and we're trying to buy it at a restaurant for you and myself. But for a
50,
professional
yeah.
team to have it's not like it's Dom Perignon, Armin.
Fair enough. You can get it at Target for 60. You can get it at Total Wine for 57. All right, so 50. I guess it's not Dom, whatever it is. I'm still, if guys are just wasting it, I'm buying Andre if I'm the clubhouse guy. That's just me. You can get Andre for like
I'm
$3
buying Miller
a
High
bottle.
Life. I'm buying the champagne and beers, baby.
that
I'm
too.
doing exactly what the Brewers did, getting them
champagne.
40 ounces, John, and we're going to have ourselves a damn party. Now, I don't know what they party with in Japan, but like you think about it for
sake.
Sake.
Okay. Now, isn't that more of a tequila?
Sake is
That's
like
a wine. It's a
Okay.
rice wine.
But they're actually big in
That's what they shoot at you in the hibachi situation or in the.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Awesome time.
Yeah, it's
Awesome
doesn't love
time.
a great hibachi.
I love that.
Nothing better than that experience.
Flipping the eggs and the shrimp and trying to get
The
them in your
shrimp make me
mouth. He
nervous.
lands it on his hat, squirting the
Instantly.
sake in your mouth.
Tossing this thing over here.
I can never
Pause.
catch the shrimp though. You know what I mean? The shrimp, that's the one that makes me nervous.
You can't catch it in your mouth?
No.
That's because he's trying to mess with you.
I know.
He finds his little
Armin on the forehead every time.
his little goofball that he can mess with. Like there's always
It's
he's going to
me.
make it in 7 of the 8 mouths, and then there's one that he's perfectly going to put it right outside the strike zone and have you chase it the whole day.
That's true. Every hibachi guy looks for his mark as soon as everyone sits down.
Yes.
And it's always me.
Always Armin.
And I'm like, whatever.
Well,
Fine.
you know
stop
why?
wearing
It's
that
because
shirt
when
that says
you
Mark.
sit down, you have the biggest smile on your face out of everybody. Your
It's
eyes
exciting.
are wider, your mouth is smiling, and he's like, "That's my one."
Yeah.
He's going to
Yeah.
have too much fun doing this, so I'm going
It's
to bounce
true.
it off his forehead 4 times.
It's absolutely true, man. But it's got to be. I think yes. I think
Meanwhile,
it's the.
Laura's over there. It's not that hard, Armin.
Yeah.
We could
she's
do this
like,
if we
here
got a
go.
Blackstone. I've tried. It's not that easy.
Oh,
but-
really?
Yeah, I've tried. Onion
Oh.
volcano, not good.
That's hard to
Not
do.
good in the backyard for your boy.
All right. So best game ever. We're great. Now he was a DH last night. I would like to see him pitch in the playoffs. That's just me. I don't know how everyone else feels about this. I know the Dodgers don't want.
I'm done asking the guy to do more. I really
That's a
am.
great point.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to call it, John, a number of different ways. I still remember when I saw him in spring training for the first time, and my radio partner at the time was like, he's going to be the greatest baseball player in the league, like by a wide margin. I'm like, all right, settle down, Spark. Like, there's no way it's going to be that awesome,
Pump the
right?
brakes. He didn't
Pump the
even
brakes
start
here,
yet.
all right?
Give him
It's
a chance.
2018. Let's give him a chance. I look around and he's warming up in the bullpen, John. I didn't realize how big he was. Like, I could not
He's a
realize he's a
monster.
legit 6'6",
Yeah.
250. There's 100 people watching around. I'm like, okay, maybe the guy's got something. And then every single time he's gotten hurt, I've tried to knock it like, all right, well, if he played a position every single day, would he have the same 50 homers and 50 stolen bases? I don't care if you're sitting in there eating fried chicken in the third inning while the rest of your team is playing defense. He's the most valuable player, not only on the business side of the game, but also on the field side of the game. Like there is a rarity of professional athletes that hit this pinnacle that they spent $700 million on him. And the guy is just saying, yeah, I'm going to make sure that it's worth every single penny.
Here's
and
the
hard to
deal.
say it wasn't this year.
Here's the deal. Okay. Both Shohei and Aaron Judge, the thing that catches my eye is their size, but how they run at their size. Baseball used to be big guys. They just kind of jogged around the bases.
Big lumbering guys.
They smacked it to the outfield and they would run or jog to first base, right?
Mhm.
Or they smacked it over the fence and they jogged the whole way around. These guys are huge and they're athletic. It's unbelievable. And Shohei chasing this 50-50, which when you're chasing 50-50, this is different than Judge chasing 60 again. Right?
Agree. Yes.
Because that's just one thing.
And it's been done.
Going
right?
50. Well, has it? Do you? Okay, so this is my question to you, Harmon. Do you think 60 with no suspicion of steroids is more impressive or less impressive? I mean, other guys have done it, but we've put asterisks beside all of them.
Outside of Roger Maris.
Well, Babe and Maris. But yes, the other guys in the modern era.
So 60, that's my point, Billy. 62
Right.
last year or whatever. Was it 62 last year? Or was it
62 or 63? Yep.
Yeah. So that last year to me is the record. I consider that the
Fair.
record.
That's fine.
Even though I also acknowledge, hey, in this era, that's a different record.
That's
right?
fine.
But
Yeah,
some
totally
records
get
are
that.
different than
Yep.
That's the way that I treat it. So I put a lot of weight on Judges, even though, other guys have done it. Other guys haven't done it like him.
It's an incredible accomplishment, no doubt. Yeah.
I also, and it's one thing that I waited for Judge last year. There's something different about doing it in a Yankee uniform. And I know people, and listen, I pound the table for the small market Milwaukee Brewers every single moment. However, when you are doing it with the most eyeballs on you and the amount of scrutiny and conversation around him at that time, that was amazing. This to me is a greater feat, John, because of the adjustment to his game. Shohei had never stolen more than 25, 26 bases in a season. To double that up when you're not pitching and go full-time DH, and then to do something that is just establish a whole new tier of greatness, I'm going to go Shohei, but not to take anything away from what Judge did. But Shohei to me this might be the greatest feat that I've been able to witness in a sport for a season.
Oh, ooh, really? More
like
more
up
so?
against the 50, the first time I'd seen 50 touchdowns by Brady in 2007.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I was like, oh my God, I did not think somebody was going to do it. Then I saw Mahomes do it as first year starting. I'm like,
Well, and
that's
and
pretty
Rodgers,
impressive.
And
But
Rodgers threw 45 in 15 games. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, yes, those were big time, super impressive things. Kobe Bryant going for what did he go for 84 or
I think
whatever?
it was
81 in that
Yeah.
game against the
81.
Raptors. Yep.
That was unbelievable. This single game, to do it with this single game makes this. I don't know. This is up there, but as we're just speaking baseball, I lived close to Baltimore. So Cal Ripken Jr.'s Iron Man feat when they were posting big numbers up on that brick warehouse to the side at Camden Yards.
Yeah.
Like, that was an unbelievable feat to me. That was crazy to watch. But I don't think that one will ever get touched. I don't know if 50-50 will be done by another player, but I feel like 50-50 is probably more likely to happen than 21-31 or whatever it is for Cal Ripken.
Yeah, it's incredible to witness, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and you do wonder with the bigger, faster, stronger that we always keep hearing, if somebody would get the opportunity to be on the field and do this and get that many chances like Shohei has. He just is. There's just a way of doing it. Like you talk about the eye test, like that swing is so pure. The fight and the scrap for the ball yesterday when he hits that thing to left field.
And I love the fan.
Awesome.
And the fan that caught it did not give it back. He kept the ball. The one that caught
didn't
the
give back.
Yes, and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Didn't he take off and just leave the stadium immediately?
Well, if you remember, there was a lot of controversy about the last Ohtani ball. That was significant, where they were pressuring him to give it back, and they were saying they won't authenticate it. And I was offended by that as a fan because I think this fan has a right to change his life with this ball. And I thought it was horrible they were trying to do that. Why not? I mean, this is the thing. You catch the ball, it's valuable. Go right to Golden Auctions, make the deal, whatever it's going to take to do it.
Well, and he was escorted out by security.
By security. Once you get it, they get security there. It gets you out of there because you don't want to get beat up for the ball or something like that.
Here's a quick question though: Is 50 more valuable or is 51 more valuable?
It's a great point. I don't know.
Oh, good question.
In this case, the 50th home run is the one they're talking about. 51 might end up whatever he ends up with. I think it's the 50 because you're talking about a 50-50 season, not hitting 51 homers. You know, I really
What if
do.
he goes wild and has 3 more games like this and hits 60-60?
Then yes, I think those would be
Yeah, then
valuable.
that one would be different.
And I think they'd all
Yeah,
be
that one would win.
Based
That one
on-
would win.
based on
So 60 is better than 50? Is that what we're agreeing on here?
I'm going with.
57's not better than 50, but 60, that's a big
Let's
deal.
take that one instead.
based on
We like round numbers in America.
we like round numbers, and collectors like round numbers. That's what I've gathered from my.
So what do you think this
research.
one goes for?
Man, this is a
He
new
gonna
stratosphere.
auction this? He gonna try to?
I think
this
you
is
got
going
to
for
go
$1
to
million.
you got to go to an auction house to do this. That's my opinion, because you can't get the 50-50 feet is the home run, because you can't get like a base, right? For the 50th stolen base of the 50-50.
That would have been an accomplishment
You
if
can-
somebody was able to
right.
go out there and actually take second base and get off the
Well,
field.
Lloyd McClendon, but you're right. That would have been.
Wait,
yeah.
But is it second base or is it third? Third base is the one he stole first.
Ac-
That was the impressive
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Stealing
actually, you're
third
right.
base,
You're right.
stealing
Yeah.
third base is a feat. Right?
So third would be
In
easier
itself.
for us to get.
Stealing third base is a feat. And I'm pretty sure they swapped that base out immediately and sent that thing.
To
They're at
Hall of
Cooperstown.
Fame.
Right to Cooperstown, yep.
They authenticate. They put the little sticker on there right away, and I don't know. I just remember that this was a couple months ago, a big story that they were really pressuring whoever caught the ball to give the ball back to Ohtani. And it's like, no, like this is a valuable ball. I caught it fair and square. It's my property now, and I'm going to change my life because of it. I like that he didn't give it back. Let's go.
That is good capitalism. That's for sure.
Why not?
414-799-1973. First thing you buy if you catch Ohtani's 50 home run ball. The
good
first
one.
thing you buy.
Insurance. Oh, for the ball. I mean, safe deposit box.
No, hey,
insurance.
that's okay. Okay,
That's
here we
fair,
go.
yeah.
Now we know Armin Sorry. The first thing he buys
No, I mean for
is
the
insurance. Hey,
life
you were
insurance.
impulsive right there. You
Wait.
said you buy insurance. You're locked in. You already bought it. You can't take it back. It's
Yep.
the first thing you bought. That's the first thing.
thought you meant
I'm going to
after.
think about this for a minute.
I thought
I'm
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
gonna
take
need
a
a
couple
second.
days. I'm going to
Okay.
find out what this ball's worth exactly, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
decide what I buy.
Yep.
First thing you buy, Billy.
I'm with you. I'm going to take a couple of days. And then I'm leaning towards a really nice first class ticket and room in Las Vegas
I
for a
knew
couple
it.
of days.
Those
Yeah,
take-
Oh, you're gonna take all your winnings and now you're investing. And you're gonna,
Yeah, I think I'm going to
Take that
invest.
trip.
I think I'm going to go and invest some of that. 414-799-1973. Matt in Milwaukee. Billy, of course, he's worth every penny. He's only costing $2 million this season. Yeah, against the cap, $2 million. The other part, and this is however you end up interpreting, however you look at it. Think about how Shohei's season started. Let's go all the way back to how Shohei's season started, where his confidant, his interpreter, had been allegedly stealing tens of millions of dollars out of his account up from underneath his nose. He goes from that into the best season in baseball history. Like that shows something different to me, John, as well. Of like we talk about being able to compartmentalize, and the greats can. That is putting everything personally to the side and saying, yeah, that's fine. I don't care that the person that maybe I've trusted and talked to the most over the last 6 years when I've been living here in America, and that knows probably all of my personal darkest secrets was stealing money from me, allegedly. I'm just going to go off and do my own thing and break baseball history one step at a time. That's remarkable to think of.
to lose your quote unquote best friend, your confidant, the man who does and helps you really walk about life in the United States.
Yep.
Right. Everything that is a comfort zone for you is gone in the blink of an eye. And you continue to have a season like that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this season could go down as the greatest baseball season for any singular player, along with the greatest game that I believe any singular player has played. And to do them, make them both put their stamp on last night the way that you did, we're just seeing history here. And it's like, this is something that'll be talked about for decades.
Yes, last night will be talked about forever, and being able to witness it and live in that moment is pretty amazing to see. Now, we've been able to see some of the greatest games of Aaron Rodgers' career. I'm not saying last night was that. It was pretty nice. It was pretty good. See the old man slinging around like he was. 24-3 Jets win. We'll talk about the A-Rod show that was last night as the Jets beat down the New England Patriots, as well as getting ready for the show in Nashville, in the Music City. Fans heading down to Tennessee, waiting for Matt Schneidman's report in 40 minutes as to what he thinks is going to happen with Jordan Love. We'll give you our thoughts on Jordan Love and share one take from one of our friends on the broadcast, Wayne Larrivee, that he voiced last night on the Football Feast. That maybe is a little bit pessimistic on number 10 being able to play, a lot more optimism coming from everybody else. So we'll let you decide on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line at 414-799-1973 as well. He's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. That's John Kuhn with you on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. It's 9 to noon. It's a football Friday. We got the picks that you need to beat to eat with the guys, and you bet. It's all going on 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. Aaron Rodgers after the game rocking a clean all black suit, no tie after a 24-3 win. It's 9 to noon on the game, talking about Garrett Wilson, whose touchdown last night in the third quarter, John Armin, became the first touchdown on Aaron Rodgers' career, his 480th of his career, his first to a wide receiver drafted in the first round. Twitter's favorite stat last night. And maybe one of, I shouldn't say maybe, the best game we've seen Aaron play in a Jet uniform. And John, it was the home opener. Jets fans, you could already hear smacking the bottom of every table they were sitting under through that entire game, being able to beat up their rival New England Patriots, getting to watch Aaron Rodgers, trying to block out that video of Rodgers shoving Salah after the rushing touchdown. What a night last night for Aaron Rodgers haters and lovers, and anybody that watches football, being able to see that Jets can beat up the bad teams. They might be very interesting all year long.
Yeah. Was that was Aaron Rodgers' best game in 3 years?
Absolutely.
Go back to
his
last season with the Packers, 2022. A lot of struggles that year, and last night in absolute total control. Now, I've been keeping an eye on them. Their first two games, obviously the Monday night game that he had with San Francisco week 1. Last week, got to see a little bit of what they did with Tennessee, because we're playing Tennessee this week, and got to see some of that film. And a lot of their offense, for as much as you want to say, like this Aaron's doing what Aaron did for a couple years in Green Bay. He's going out there, no motions, no shifts, spread them out, get my one-on-one battle, find my best spot that I can go to here and go to him. And that's why guys like Allen Lazard are thriving. Tyler Conklin are thriving, because he can find them, see them matched up in a favorable matchup, because so much attention is getting paid to Garrett Wilson. Will this work when you get a team that is just capable on offense? New England was not capable last night of anything on offense. Will you be able to do this when you play a team that has better players than just a number one corner, right? When they have a really good pass rush that can get after you, when they have, multiple guys at the second and third level that can cover these players, because there's not a lot of bells and whistles to this. This is not like the new offense in the NFL that has motions and shifts and movement and deceive
Orbits,
the defense.
Yeah.
This is entirely what Mike McCarthy instilled for years at Green Bay, that Aaron Rodgers thrived in. Win your one-on-one. Find the one-on-one on defense that best gives you the chance to win, and go after that. Many people have said to me, many scouts I talked to around the league have said that type of offense is one of the easiest offenses to scout, to get tendencies on.
Sure.
It might not be one of the easiest to stop, though, because so many teams, and sometimes you find this in the NFL where, a trend goes a certain way, but then that team that's a little bit reluctant to go to that trend, they're one of the tougher teams to face, because you don't face an offense like that.
You don't see them all the time. Yeah. It's one of those that, DP was talking about it yesterday when I was listening to his show as well. And it's like, I don't know why more teams don't try that. It kind of seems like what the Chargers are doing, right? Like, why would we try to be the Chiefs? We can't beat the Chiefs. We can't be the Chiefs and beat the Chiefs. Why don't we try to do what is different? Let's get two big big offensive tackles. Let's run the ball. Let's control the clock. Let's play some defense and make them beat us on every possession that they get, and try and make them make mistakes. John, like, nobody else is doing that offensively. I just thought it was, and you mentioned it, it's much more Mike McCarthy. It's very much Nathaniel Hackett saying, hey, whatever you want us to do, let's do it. And we will try to be great at it. Like, it's the most he's thrown for since they lost in Detroit. To your point, best game in like 3 years.
The
281 is the most that he's thrown for in a game since the 15-9 loss against Detroit. You mentioned the Dallas game where he throws 3 TDs. That's the most that he's thrown. 3 TDs since 202 and 3 TDs in 2021. Like, it's clearly the best game he's played in a long time. It also is maybe the more mobile that we've been able to see him a little bit. Like, I thought that was key. Mike Heller was in here ranting and raving, and Armin was putting the Dukes up.
Well, I was surprised.
He's fighting it back a little bit.
That Aaron could only play when he was scrambling. What was it? Oh, he was really great on the run. Obviously,
Not great from the pocket.
Aaron's greatness, obviously, comes a lot of what he can do running, throwing on the run. But I said, let's not forget, Aaron is still a technician from the pocket. I think we saw that last night. I don't think that part of it will ever really go away as long as he's got the ability to make certain throws, because the way he sees the field is different than most guys, and his ability to stay cerebral in a lot of situations. He runs his offense, I think, like a boa constrictor would try and kill its prey, like very, very slowly get around you, slowly crush, crush, just crush you into death.
Sadistic.
Well, I'm not trying to be morbid about anything, but I think that's sort of the way it is. He's just going to control clock, control, every play, let the clock run down, pick out a situation, chess game, this, that. And obviously, now executing it is the next step of that, right? Obviously, executing plays.
Aaron thrives off of proving he's the smartest man on the field, proving that he can find the answer that the defense is putting out there. And it's easier to find the answers for Aaron if you don't have the bells and whistles, if you don't have motions, if you don't have shifts, and the defense is constantly adjusting, because you can stand there, you can think, you can contemplate, you can run the play clock down, and you can roll with it. And that's how he thrives. Now, why last night was important for me is, had they struggled the first two games, to be honest with you. Offensively, they were dominated by the 49ers. That was on the road. That was a big-time game. That was Monday Night Football. They scored 19 points, but there was a meaningless touchdown at the end of the game by the backup quarterback.
Yeah, they couldn't do much of anything.
They were dominated by the 49ers. Okay, that's a good defense. That's a borderline great defense. Then against the Titans, they struggled again. I think first 4 drives, they were 0 for, right? And they struggled against the Titans defense as well. So if they'd have gone out and they'd have won a game last night 17-16, even if they had a 2-minute drive at the end to score a touchdown, had they struggled, now they got 4 straight games at home, right? First, I'm acknowledging this. The first 2 games were on the road. We talked about the Tennessee Titan defense this week already, about the problems that they can pose.
Yeah, better than people
49ers are a great defense to do on the road. The first 2 games were on the road. Okay, now you're home. Last night, I took my finger off the panic button for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, because had they struggled last night, I'd say this is going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season. Maybe not the case. Maybe a correction was made last night. Playing a team that's not very good at home, look dominant like you should look.
You hit it out of the park for me, John, when you said, what are they going to do when they play a competent offense? Like, because I think the biggest conversation around the Jets preseason, and the biggest source of optimism outside of the fact that their quarterback is obviously a 4-time MVP, was the fact that people thought their defense was top 5, top 3 in football. I was shell-shocked by how they got run over and run outside on by San Francisco, especially once Mosley came out of the game. I didn't know how well they were going to be able to fight depth-wise. If their defense is that good when they play competent offenses, and we're not going to be able to see that really until like Minnesota, Buffalo, they play Houston on Halloween night. Like, they get a nice landing here where I think their defense can get more confidence. And if they're only asking Rodgers and the offense to score 20 to 24 points a night, they're going to be in a good spot, because I think they can get there, but their defense has to be that, I think, consistently for them to be as great as people want them to be.
I picked them at the beginning of the year to be a wild card team, to break the longest streak of any major professional sports team to not make the playoffs, to break that streak finally. And that would be a great success for the Jets. And I picked them to lose in the wild card round. And going into last night, I wasn't sure if they were going to be that. But after watching last night, I feel my prediction is probably right on par, right on key here for what this Jets team is probably going to be this year. They should be able to beat up on bad teams. They should especially be able to do that at home. That should get them enough wins to get into the playoffs. Now, how will they match up? When you play an offense like this, I'm telling you, Aaron has to be on his game. He has to be at the top of his game every time you play a competent team, because that's what this offense is. This offense is entirely based around him finding the one-on-one and being able to make the throw, and those players being able to make the catch. I mean, there will be a run aspect to this, but this is going to revolve around Aaron Rodgers finding the answers to defenses.
I agree. And I think that being said, I think it was it's sort of silly for some people to think he was just going to be a shell of himself. I think this guy, at least to a certain level, knows how to play the quarterback position and can do it now. Can he do it against those next level steps, like you said, John, to make that playoff push, to really advance in the playoffs? That remains to be seen. But at least he brings the Jets to a certain level of respectability that they didn't have before, I think is fair to say.
Al Michaels did say last night, if he can take them all the way home, or at least to the wild card round. Like there are a lot of things that Jets fans want. And I know the Greenies and company and literally like everybody in national media will tell you about them going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I predict them to win the East. Let's not forget. I'm not running from it. I'm just saying.
Congratulations. How are you feeling on that prediction?
Oh, they're 2-1. I'm not mad about it.
I'll take Buffalo right now.
Oh, I would too. I mean, Buffalo's really good. I didn't think, they'd just come out this strong.
And also, I think right now, I'm not getting the value that I want on it at Potawatomi Sportsbook. I think I'm leaning Josh Allen MVP.
Oh, he's looking good. No doubt.
I think I'm leaning Josh Allen MVP. John, we're going to talk a lot more around the NFL in an hour after Matt Schneidman comes up. But like, I'm making my grandiose statements of the NFL 2 weeks prior to when you really should. I think once you're in October, you know a lot more about everybody. I'm starting to think that's going to be my shot. I think that's going to be now I'm not going to put a Schneidman unit on it. We'll talk to him about the unit plays that he's making coming up in 20 minutes from right now. But it's very interesting. That team is going to be fun to watch. I don't know how much I can invest on them for what you said, John. I don't know what I'm getting on a day in and day out basis. But they're going to be fun to watch, and we're going to be able to do it and follow along with it every single game. He's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's right there. It's 9 to noon statewide on the game. And as I mentioned, Matt Schneidman brings his final judgment for this program coming up in 20 minutes on Jordan Love being able to play. We give our takes on the other side. It's 9 to noon on the game. Hey guys, Billy Schmidt, Underdog Fantasy, the place to invest this weekend if you want to get in on the action for football season. Over 1 million fans last year got in the game, making picks, making money on Underdog Fantasy. Join in the fun, and you could win up to 325 times your money by simply choosing higher or lower on your favorite football player stats this fall. It's super simple. My wife last night was a little frustrated. Needed one more catch by Breece Hall to hit that higher and be able to get a victory. Instead, just a loser like all the rest of us. Making picks on Underdog is super easy. It's even easier to get started. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app. It's going to be your favorite one on your phone. Sign up with promo code Billy, BILLY, and Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick-em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Billy. Claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. John Kuhn, Billy Schmid. Happy 920 day. What's going on, 920? Green Bay Packers and the Packers Pro Shop firing out a GRB 920 collection. And fellas, I'm going to be completely honest with you. John, Packers Pro Shop knocked it out of the park with this one. I don't know what I expected from Krista Jurgensen and her staff, but knocked it out of the park. This koozie, roll out the barrel, and the barrel's got a big old football logo right there on the top of it. That's a winner for me. That's a winner for me right there for the GRB 920 collection with the Packers Pro Shop. Big fans.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Come on
I'm a fan
now.
of it. The 920 is a little hard to read because it's superimposed on a GRB.
Yes. Yep.
But aside from that, this is good. This is good. We're coming out with new stuff now.
Now take some
Hey,
swings.
Hey,
the
listen.
Packer Pro Shop,
They're doing their
we've said
thing.
it. We've talked about it. It is the #1 pro shop in our state. Maybe.
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking with a few people, like promoters that think it's the best pro shop in all of sports, better than the Cowboys.
How about that?
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I haven't checked the other ones out to know, but I mean, hey,
I'm going to go
listen.
out on a limb and say ours is way better than the Cowboys Pro Shop. But like this T-shirt, the rollout white tee with the GRB on the side, already on backorder. Like they're already sold out of a bunch of different sizes. So like it's going to be, you got to get over there and be able to grab some of this stuff because it's pretty sweet.
I would say as a true 920 guy, John, you know, you could rock some of this stuff.
Would I be a fronter if I rock some 920 stuff?
But am I from the 920?
I think you're from the 920. Now I've heard this debate that you guys had quite a bit.
Well,
Once you're there a decade, you're then from
I'm
a
creeping
place.
on 2 decades here.
Yeah.
I think you are. I do wonder though if this is going to become, and I don't want this. I don't want division in our fan base, a gold package, green package thing. The people that are hating on the Milwaukee package, I don't want them to start bowing up with 920 stuff. Now, listen, this is not what I'm talking about. Pro Shop, this stuff looks great. I know we're representing 920 Pride. Yeah, that's great.
But I don't have a 920 phone number. That's the thing.
That's okay, John. The phone number don't count because that
You got a house phone?
It's all based on the first time you got a cell phone.
Still 717.
It's okay. No,
I didn't want to change my number. I want people to be able to hit me up. I don't want to have to go, you know, I don't want people to have to text me new phone. Who this?
Don't change your number. One day when we're all 80 years old, our phone number is going to represent where we were.
Well, but the
born and
little
grew up.
ones are going when they get a cell phone. Now I don't know when you guys are going to cross that bridge.
That's not for a long time.
That will be a
decision.
920 number
That's not
though.
for a long
Let's
time.
go, John.
I told L, not happening.
There
No.
we go.
So quit
Let's-
asking.
Middle
let's
school?
Quit asking.
No, definitely not middle school.
You know how they get you as a parent? They say, "Well, what about emergencies?" Hey, they didn't have them when I was a kid. We didn't have to. We felt we dealt
I'm
with
going to
it.
teach my kids the old 100 collect call, right? What was that?
Collect
100?
call to.
Hey,
Hey,
somebody
mom,
for
pick
the
me up.
payphone. They'll be fine.
1-800
Yeah,
collect.
call collect.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
mom, pick me up. I'm at the high school. Bye. You know, it's
Actually, all the kids that I expect all of my kids' classmates to have cell phones by that time. So I'll just tell them if you need
Use
them,
somebody
use their
else's.
friends.
That's a winner right there. Yeah. And it also enforces one character trait that I think everybody should remember. Learn some numbers. Learn some phone numbers. We don't learn phone numbers anymore.
Used to memorize all my buddies' numbers when we grew up. That was one skill we had that is totally unusable anymore. As I used to know my friends' phone numbers. Absolutely. So yeah, that
How
is a
many
thing.
phone numbers do you think you still remember?
It's a great
how many
question.
Numbers,
Not
how many.
many.
Numbers I know Lindsay's by heart.
Me too.
I
Mhm.
know my
wife.
mom's by heart.
Yep.
I know one of my college teammates by heart.
Uh-huh.
I think that might be it.
I got 5. I got my mom and dad. I know my
I
wife
know the
Allie's.
talking text line. I got 4.
There's 6. Yep. My buddy Jake is like the only one that I really know by heart because it's the same one since 6th grade.
I mean, I know
I know the
799-1973.
Packers automated number when anybody from the stadium calls you because I remember the fear every time you got one of those calls.
Yeah, that's a
There-
tough deal.
there's
And my
nobody-
sisters. I got hers. There's 5.
Nobody here at work. I know their number too. I know mine. I know Laura's. I know my parents' home number because they use that still more often. And I know it's 414-799-1973. But John, the
everyone
fact that
knows
you
that
still
one.
remember Kevin's number is impressive. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
I know. No, I don't know Kevin Gold's number. No, I don't know. But if
Nice
the
try.
funny thing is, 920-569-7500 was a number that struck fear in the hearts of every player. When you got a call from that number, you suspected something bad. Luckily, it was never anything bad. It was always good. But that was a number that struck fear in everybody's heart.
Yeah, the bad thing is it's proved I've watched way too much Brewers baseball because instantly I was just trying to think of the numbers. I remember 414-902-4000. Pretty sure that's the Brewers ticket office.
That was.
Pretty sure that's the Brewers ticket office
yes.
from hearing Darren Sutton and Brian Anderson and everybody listed off how many different times. Yeah, no doubt about it.
For your Buckethead Brigade tickets, call.
Paul from Palmyra. I had a piece of paper in my wallet with about 20 phone numbers on it when I was a teenager back in the late 80s. That was the way to go. Hey, could you put, but then, I mean, if all of a sudden you acquired a certain number, you're not just going to add that to the list, right? Like you're just going to keep that one special on a different piece of paper, or Armin doesn't know what I'm saying about it. I wasn't acquiring a whole lot of phone numbers back in the day. It sounds like 414-799-1973.
I got some numbers back in my day.
He's got a little black book. Matt Schneidman, I wonder how many numbers he remembers.
I got AIM instant message screen names. That's what I got.
Oh, look at you.
You had to be on AIM, bro, if you were doing your thing. What about Kevin Boyle, John? You remember his number? Is that the guy you're talking about?
No.
That's your guy, right? Kevin Boyle?
List off a couple other random names.
Because off of Wikipedia.
Yeah, it says that. And
that's how you know Wikipedia is inaccurate.
And it says that he's why do they have to point out that he was the third string safety? Is that like a joke? You did that, didn't you?
I didn't do you. If you think I donated $1 to Wikipedia to put any of that in there, you're foolish.
Hey, I've come.
I might have talked about
Groove
Click. I might have talked about that at the beginning of the show, but I'm not spending that $1 on Wikipedia.
I know we got to go, but I've come closer to considering donating that $1 than ever before. I really do depend on Wikipedia, and I'm like, maybe I should donate $1.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about
Then you go to Quick Trip and fill up that coffee for $1, and you're like, I think that's a much better idea.
20 ounce.
20 ounce. You're still missing out. You got to do the coffee fill up and save about 70 cents, but that's fine. You keep grabbing that Packer cup. You'll be okay with it. 414-799-1973. Matt Schneidman interjects into the conversation his final judgment as to whether or not Jordan Love will go on Sunday. And Wayne Larrivee made a proclamation last night on the Football Feast as to why he might not think you see number 10. We'll share that on the other side. Hour 2, 9 to noon, right after this. This hour at 9 to noon brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Everybody relax with Happy Place Hemp. All your hemp-related products needs with a 25% discount using promo code Billy at happyplacehemp.com, whether it's Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies, recreational, by the way, for the weekend. Maybe you got a bye week this week with Wisconsin Badgers, and you're like, I'm going to kick back and I'm really going to enjoy this Saturday. Delta 8 gummy with Happy Place Hemp might be the exact way to go. Or you're really just trying to catch up on some sleep this weekend. There's Sleepy Time gummies there as well. And Drift, the seltzers, the THC, CBD infused seltzers. Drew Olson told me that is the ticket. That is the one that you have to enjoy to really enjoy the weekend. So that is going to be potentially part of my weekend coming up here. Thanks to Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Promo code Billy. Match Nyman joins us on Mondays and Fridays. Talk Packers football. Rocking a sweet new white mic there as the YouTube audience is able to see Matt there in the bottom corner. Matt, fantastic work. That's a real radio guy move right there. And thanks for joining us here today. I love these Fridays after you and I chop it up for an hour on the Football Feast. I feel like there's not a whole lot of questions that I got to ask you, but you were there last night when Wayne Larrivee mentioned that he's not putting Jordan Love on his spotting chart. Did it? Did the chart? He ain't on it. So he doesn't think he's playing. You and I last night at the Football Feast did say he's going to play. We were both at least the ones that were leaning towards he should play. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Leaning towards him playing. Do you feel better or worse after that prediction from our friend Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Green Bay Packers?
Well, nothing that has happened since then has changed my opinion. I wouldn't say I feel better or worse. And again, that's not based on any, inside information that I've been given. It's just based on, he's gotten 2 good days of practiced in pads yesterday. If he goes again today, I would increase my belief that he's going to try to give it a go. But Adam Stenavich asked yesterday, what do you guys need to see in order for Jordan to go? And he said, for Jordan to say he can go. Obviously, it's more than that. But Matt LaFleur did say they're going to give him up until kickoff or 90 minutes before when inactives come out. I expect him to be listed as questionable today and then not downgraded to doubtful tomorrow like he was last week. And then it'll really be, it honestly could be how he wakes up on Sunday. Like I believe I mentioned last night. You remember that game in 2021 with, it was 2022, that game at Washington where Bakhtiari woke up on Saturday or Sunday and his knee locked up. Now, I'm not comparing Jordan Love's knee to David Bakhtiari's knee, but you could just wake up Sunday and it doesn't feel right. So we'll see. My guess, gun to my head, is he plays. Now, there are going to be a lot of people out there who say, oh, don't rush him back. We can win with Malik Willis. Give him another week. But that's not how this should work. It shouldn't be, they think they can try with Malik Willis, so give Jordan some more. If Jordan's ready to play, he's going to play.
Matt, as you took a deeper dive of this game as the week has gone by, the past game, the Colts game, in kind of the smoke afterwards, taking a look at what the defense did there, are you buying now what Jeff Hafley's putting out there? I said I feel comfortable that this defense is fixed. I said it after watching the film. Do you believe they're significantly better than what they were last year?
I think the jury's still out. In order to say that, I need to see them consistently stop the run, and they haven't done that in each of the first 2 games. And I'm very hesitant to making statements or broad statements about what this defense can be in the first 2 weeks of the season, because they've only played 2 games, but they haven't really stopped Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor. They're going to have to stop Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, which is, a better matchup for them. But in terms of takeaways, obviously that's the big story here. They have 5 interceptions through the first 2 games. They had 7 all of last year. So that's a positive, but they got to keep that going. I'm not ready to say they're much better, but they certainly seem to have the potential to do so.
Sorry about that. Match Nyman hanging out with us here on 9 to noon. When you do see their ability to take the football away, and I know we went back and forth on it with the inside linebackers last night. I just think the secondary, Matt, like you look at all of the resources that we talk about them investing on the defense. There's a ton in the secondary, and then there's a ton of those first-round draft capital guys on the defensive line. But being able to supplement it with a Xavier McKinney in the back end, we've seen it. I think the Philadelphia game when he's, moving guys around and then able to come across the field for the interception, it's an easier one to witness. But just looking back at it, how much of an impact have you been able to see from him outside of the 2 interceptions, the one that everybody wants to talk about?
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes him such a complete safety is it's more than just the interceptions. It's, the disguises and getting everyone organized on the back end and coaching up those young safeties. There's a lot more that he brings. And, we were talking about it last night. It's easy to forget with everything he's doing that he's only 25 years old. He just turned 25 going into his 5th year in the league. So he entered the league as a really young player. Jeff Hafley talked yesterday about how he thinks McKinney's off to a very, very good start, and he likes what he's seeing from him. And right now, that $16+ million a year price tag certainly seems like a bargain.
Matt, has Tucker Kraft overtaken Luke Musgrave as the Packers' number 1 tight end?
Yeah, I think so. John Dunn, the tight ends coach, the other day was talking to us about how he thinks Tucker Kraft's already a complete tight end. It's clear they trust him in both the passing game and the running game. I forget who was saying it yesterday. It might have been Stenovich, but just how physical he is at the point of attack and how impressive he's been in the blocking game, which is another reason to take PFF grades with a grain of salt because they rank Tucker Kraft as the 3rd worst run defender on the entire team from Sunday's game. He's good with the ball in his hands after the catch. He's proven to be a really good blocker, and that wasn't always the case. Coaches were saying this week how, he really had to work on that. He didn't come in as a great blocker, and Kraft has said before he wanted to become the best blocking tight end in the league. He's obviously not there yet, but he's making good progress. And just looking at the snap counts, it was, I think it was 64-17 in week 1, Kraft over Musgrave, and then week 2, 56-31. So coaches are saying, we'd like to have it even. Luke's going to have his time, but it's very clear that Tucker Kraft is the favorite in that room right now.
You mentioned it yesterday, and it's pretty spot on. You're going to sit down with Josh Jacobs coming up later on today, ask him a couple of questions for a story you got coming up. But holding on to the football will be a massive part of it. Now, I don't want to misquote the situation in the back and forth that you had with the head coach yesterday. But the Tyreek style was that the way of the running that Matt LaFleur kind of pushed back on you, saying of Josh Jacobs maybe runs so fast and agile that the ball stays too far away from his body, and then Matt LaFleur kind of pushed back on that situation yesterday at the podium.
No, he didn't push back on that. He just pushed back on the metaphor that Ben Simmons used to describe it, because Ben Simmons, the running backs coach, the other day talked about what he called the cheetah effect. And he said, I guess when a cheetah runs so fast, its tail flies all over the place and it's a way to keep its balance, which I don't even know if that's true. He could very well just be making that up. I don't.
Sounds awesome.
It's a great one to make up, by the way, right out of your hind parts. Holy cow. Baby Ben Simmons.
I use my tail for balance.
The cheetah loses balance because of the tail, or the tail helps it?
What does the rhinoceros use for balance?
The tail helps him to balance. And basically what he was saying is that Josh Jacobs runs so aggressively and cuts so aggressively that he uses his arms out by his side to keep his balance. Because if he keeps his arms too close to his body, he's going to lose his balance. So that's why I said a cheetah's tail is all over the place, helps it keep its balance when it's running fast. Josh Jacobs' arms do the same thing. So the way I posed the question to Matt LaFleur was, Ben Simmons called it the cheetah effect. And LaFleur was basically, taken aback a little bit because he said he had never heard Ben Simmons use that analogy. LaFleur said, I've heard of Gorilla Glue. We say you got to Gorilla Glue the ball to your side. But bottom line is Josh Jacobs needs to hold on to the ball. Ben Simmons said, and I'm going to read this quote directly. He said, we kind of reset our fundamentals with him because he doesn't have a huge history of putting the ball on the ground. There's ways that he carries the ball even in practice that I would say, oh man. But sometimes you give a veteran the benefit of the doubt if they don't have a history of doing something. But after 2 weeks in a row, something that we've definitely addressed, only 3 running backs have more fumbles than Josh Jacobs since he entered the league in 2019. Dalvin Cook, Devin Singletary, and Melvin Gordon. Jacobs has 1 in each of the first 2 games. It's got to be something that's fixed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the cheetah can run using its tail as a rudder. So I guess that's true. But the cheetah runs 75 miles an hour. So once Josh Jacobs is running that fast, then we can use that as an
I don't know.
excuse.
Put that GPS tracker on, and he had to have been hitting like 23, 24. He was cruising.
I love Josh Jacobs, but you're right. To be his most effective, he's got to cut down on the fumble. So hopefully he'll get that out of his system.
Well,
it's Amon Green had the same issue.
I will say the first two games, the shots were right on the ball.
Mhm.
They were pinpoint shots on the ball that caused those fumbles, and that happens from time to time. However, are you doing things to make sure those shots on the ball don't happen? Right? Or are you putting two hands on the ball when you are in traffic, right by the goal line? Right by the goal line is the most important time to have the highest ball security you could ever have. A lot of guys, that's when the ball security gets its most relaxed. You feel the end zone, you feel like you're getting ready to reach the ball for the end zone, and that's when you take your eyes off the prize for a second and lose focus of the most important thing, which is possession of the football. I think the first two games, those were shots directly on the ball. However, a guy that's going to run the ball as we hope or touch the ball as we hope 25 times a game, yeah, you're going to be in a lot of those situations. So you got to find a way when you are in traffic to say, if you put a shot on the ball, I still have it.
Yeah, it's a difficult spot to be in for the Packers, especially because they're going to lean on Jake. Is that the most frustrating, John, or is it like a drop in the flat when it is just a perfect spot on the ball? Defender just puts his hat right on the ball. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you don't want to drop the ball regardless. Like Saquon on 3rd and 3. Like that's terrible for him. Fumbling the ball, that's terrible, for any running back. And it's a terrible feeling when you get that, because you come to the sideline, you're like, man, I just ruined the entire drive for this entire team. All right, Matt, Keyshawn Nixon said he's giving up hope on returning kicks. Do you think the NFL, because there are some teams now that are going out there and making teams return the ball, do you think the NFL is going to get to that? Maybe special teams coaches, maybe head coaches early on are like, we're not sure what it's going to look like. There were a lot of kickoffs in the preseason getting past the 30-yard line. Now there's a lot of kickoffs by the teams that cover them getting tackled inside the 30-yard line. Are teams going to start taking notes and saying, hey, we're going to take these chances now?
I think it's just player specific, really. I saw something the other day about how these kickoff returns are actually up now that we've gotten a bigger sample size of it, but Packers have the best kick returner in the league. So I don't think it's like a league-wide trend. I think it's more of they just don't want to kick to Keyshawn Nixon. I wrote the other day, I think 7 out of the 8 kickoffs that he's faced have gone for touchbacks, and the one that came back out was the one that he would have let go had it not been down 5 with 27 seconds left against the Eagles, and one that he should have taken for a touchback anyway, since it was 8 yards deep in the end zone. I think we're not going to see him get any chances to return kicks. I'd be surprised if we do until the weather turns, and guys can't just boot it out of the back of the end zone because the ball hardens up. And even then, maybe they're able to. So I really just think it's a product of what he's done the last 2 years in ripping off so many of these returns. Remember, part of the reason he made first team All-Pro last season, because he's very good at what he does in that regard, but also because he had so many more returns than everyone else in the league.
Right. Just more volume of returns.
Like he was just fearless in bringing it out. But with these new rules, there are obviously rules within the team put in place that say, all right, let's be more conservative since we get the extra 5 yards. So I honestly just think it comes down to teams are afraid of Keyshawn Nixon.
What about on the Packers end?
I think, similarly, it comes down to a player-by-player basis, but I think they're probably just better off, booting the ball through the back of the end zone. Ideally, you'd have Braden Narvison do every week what he did against the Eagles, just kind of squib it. It lands right inside the 20, and then it rolls to the 5, kind of to the side, and then gives your coverage team time to get down there. But that's so hard to execute. And as Rich Bisaccia has said, there are elements that are going to factor in play. Like he brought up the Bills-Cardinals game from week 1 when that happened and it was completely, thrown off guard by wind or something. So that's so hard to do what Braden Narvison did there against the Eagles in week 1. Ideally, you do that every time, but it's just not feasible.
I've gone back and forth trying to decide what the sweet spot is for inducing more returns. It is because on one hand, I think to myself, well, the 30 is too much of an advantage for a ton. Because I grew up, we grew up, it was the 20-yard line. So the 30 is so much of an advantage, nobody's going to take it out because they'll take it on the 30. On the flip side, you make it the 35, everyone's going to
punish the offense. You punish the offense
Right.
for taking the touchback. For so much, it's been punishing the defense for the touchback, trying to encourage kicking teams to kick it in the field of play. That hasn't happened. That hasn't worked.
Right,
So you got to punish the return team for taking the touchback.
Punish the return team and move the kicker back. Like I think
I
the
agree.
two easiest ones. You move the kicker back to 25-yard line. Try booting it out of the back of the end zone. We'll see a really, really awesome feat if that ends up being the case. Matt, I know that you're not going to discuss the particulars of this piece because you're covering the NFL. The line movement went to 1.5 earlier yesterday, all the way back now up to 3 in favor of the Tennessee Titans. Is that more in your estimation on Jordan Love's availability, or people looking at what the Titans have done on defense and saying, if it's not Love, that's a massive issue because that defense is maybe a little bit better than veteran laden than people are giving it credit for in Tennessee?
Yeah, I think it's definitely related to Love. Now, I don't know what Vegas knows. And they obviously have people in different places telling them information, but
More than
we
you.
just don't know if Jordan Love's going to play. Maybe, someone. What?
We got spies and
We
moles
don't
all
think
over the
we
place.
don't think
in
anyone
1265.
knows them more than you. That's
Vegas
my
is so
point.
good.
I know, but all right,
Matt's
fine.
in that building. Matt's got a finger on the pulse.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't know yet if Jordan Love's going to play. My gut says he will, but maybe Vegas is just guessing too. Maybe they have better sources than I do.
No, there's no chance. No chance anybody's got better sources than this guy.
That's my
Matt, was
thought.
that
Yeah,
was
there
that
is a chance.
was that a fly that you potentially caught there in the middle of one of your last answers? Like there was a good swat and it was an impressive just movement
Yeah.
back in. Was that a fly? Did you catch it? Did you get him?
Yeah, I wouldn't say potentially because I did catch it.
Let's go.
It's,
That's what I'm talking about, man. Okay.
That
it's
was
one
great.
of the better feelings when you just take a
Yes.
swat at something, and I caught it in my hand. I looked up and there was a dead fly in my hand. And,
Wow.
back in 2017, when I was a senior in college and I lived with 6 other guys in the same house, I would be the guy who
That's
killed all
wow.
the bugs in the house. So I have experience at this.
Yeah, you were tough. Yeah,
It's
Matt
an
was
awesome
a tough
feeling.
one. I was the one that got the bugs, Oh, 6 guys, but I was the toughest one. I like that, Matt.
I'm
pretty good.
with Matt though. There's not many more satisfying feelings than when you do catch the fly midair. You look into the hand like,
I got him.
gotcha. Tell your friends.
Mm.
That's what happens when you
Tell
come
your
messing around
friends,
over
yeah.
here. Matt, we appreciate it, man. When are you heading to Nashville?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Good. Late arrival, like 10, 11. Stay away from Broadway. Way
Yeah,
too much fun down there.
8 p.m. arrival. I don't really have any friends, so I'll probably just stay in and get a nice rest before the early game on Sunday.
Good
You're
work.
staying humble like that. That's good.
Mark the tape.
I mean, I asked John if he wanted to show me Broadway, but he also wanted to get a good rest, which I respect, so I'm probably going to do the same.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, you stay away. Like there is a good reason why I'm not on this travel roster, and I'm very, very thankful. Very, very thankful. Way too much fun can be had in that city, and a lot of Packers fans going to be invading that town. I hope that they have enough Miller Lite. Matt, we appreciate it, man. Safe travels, and we'll be reading all the reporting.
Thanks, guys.
At Matt Schneidman, how you follow him via X as well as Instagram. He threw that Instagram out there before Brazil. Picked up a bunch of followers on
was big.
Instagram.
That was the whole plan. That was the whole plan the whole time, I think.
I did tell Matt yesterday, John, they got me again. Those sons of guns. Auto renewal on the Athletic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't right, but I was going. I was gonna renew anyway. I was, maybe gonna try to find one of them discount codes that Matt every once in a while throws out there at Matt Schneidman on Twitter, but
Can he comp you?
it's fine. No, you know what? No. They don't have to. No, they don't have to comp us. No. They don't have to comp us. That's fine. They don't have to. That's fine. 414-799-1973. It'd be nice. It would be nice, but no, they don't have to. We are going to go around the NFL coming up here on the other side.
saying.
Poke around with some teams. It's a big game. Did he too good not to play? It's coming up. That's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Starians here. You're on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. It's 9 to noon on the game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And what a great season our Brewers have had this year. The new manager, some pieces that were up and down, and yet they've had this incredible season. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin is here to remind you that they too have a great season. In fact, they always finish on top of the windows and door leagues. Pella manufactures all of their own products, and each one of those products gets tested thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. Quality craftsmanship and innovation design are built into every Pella product for timeless beauty and performance, and you know that because you pick every one of those details. Pella windows and doors are best in class, not only from their endless styles, but for the features you cannot see. And now for something you almost cannot believe. Get $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. But you got to hurry. That deal only lasts until September 30th. Certain restrictions apply. See Chevron for details. And please tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Visit PellaWI.com today.
All right, check this out. 9 to noon on the game. We're going to go around the NFL here, talk about some of the big games in week 3. But John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's with us. It's 9 to noon. Guys, Braylon Allen had a nice night last night on Thursday Night Football. Did not get that anytime touchdown that it felt like he was destined to end up snagging. However, 5 yards a pop, 11 carries, 55 yards on the ground.
I just felt like he looked quicker last night than I remember seeing him for a long time.
Huh.
Faster, quicker, more... He's explosive to the hole.
He looks really, really good. Some individual tweeted at him and said, how the F did Braylon Allen drop to the 4th round? Huh. Well, Braylon Allen's got his own ideas. Just quote tweeted at John and said, everyone wanted to see me run in my underwear to decide if I was a good football player. We all thought you were going to dominate the combine.
Interesting.
I guess that's where he fully has lined himself up as. I also watched him
Did he have a bad run at the combine or something?
I don't know.
What's going on?
Everybody wanted to see me run in my underwear to decide if I was a good football player.
But he weightlifts in his underwear and he wants everyone to see that, right? I mean, he loves posting his weightlifting videos, right?
Maybe he had a bad time in the 40. Maybe that's what he's talking about here. Or
did not run the 40-yard dash at the scouting combine or at Wisconsin's pro day due to an ankle injury suffered against Ohio State the previous year.
Okay, well that's not why. That's not why. Why did Braylon Allen drop to the 4th round? I'll say it because he had a slightly above average career at Wisconsin. I mean, his last 2 years were a lot of, and you can talk about the offensive line at Wisconsin all you want, but it was a lot of Braylon Allen not breaking tackles at a level where NFL running backs break a lot of tackles. That's what they do in college football. And he just did not break a lot of tackles or the number of tackles that you would expect the back bigger and faster than the guys he's going against to do.
Yeah. Plus, it's hard. I mean, running backs last in the 4th round. A lot of great running backs don't get drafted high anymore. Let's just be real about it. How many first-round running backs were there?
I don't think there was a running back taken until 50-something with Jonathan Brooks being the first one this year, and that was a different beast
46.
of it this year. I thought he was a mid-round pick, John, for the exact same things that you mentioned there. His freshman year at Wisconsin, you didn't see that level of violence finishing runs like you did the rest of his time at Wisconsin. I do think last year, however, in Longo's offense, you at least got to see him catch the football, albeit he wasn't great at catching and running at the same time until later in the year. I think that maybe helped develop him into a better NFL back. But I'm right there with you. Like, their offensive line, people want to say, has fallen completely off a cliff. In each of his years at Wisconsin, they put multiple guys into the NFL. His center there for the New York Jets was one of his centers at Wisconsin that he was running behind in Joe Tippmann. It's still a pretty solid factory. He still had a pretty nice unit there. It wasn't the same player in his final 2 years that he was in that first initial year when he was 17 years old and everyone was so excited about it.
And sometimes film can get skewed, right? I mean, the lack of a good quarterback at Wisconsin that hurts the run game.
Well, they boxed him up.
Everybody's like, what's a quarterback? The quarterback has a lot to do with the run game. Teams can load the box. They can have people in gaps and they can just have them sit there and wait for the running back to get up to you. And to some extent, and this is where I go back to, NFL running backs, when you are faced in those situations, you got to make one man miss. You got to make a guy miss to break the big one. And I don't know if he did that with frequency enough for people to say, yeah, he's a surefire can't miss pick for an NFL team at running back.
Yeah, and then
he looks great so far.
He
for the
really
Jets.
does. And he got dinged up late in the year in both of those final 2 seasons. So I definitely understand that part of it. And he played dinged up, but you're going to at that spot in the NFL. So that's not as much of a great excuse, but he does. He looks a lot better right now than he did previously. And that's a big thing for the New York Jets. If they're able to run the ball, they ran it 33 times last night, threw it 35.
Yeah.
If they actually have that kind of balance and they're able to keep that when they play better teams like we were talking about before, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch and a very interesting team to talk about.
They still seem run first in a lot of ways. And obviously that if they have a great running, him and Breece Hall, I mean, it could be a definite 1-2 punch that can sustain them a bit, especially if Aaron's trying to prolong that type of career. Not to get in everyone's feelings, because every time I mention his name, Aaron Rodgers. People get on their feelings. But yeah, that should be interesting to watch as we go forward.
Well, people just don't love that you just throw the cape back on. But listen, people think I'm a Viking fan. So when I bring up the Texans going to Minnesota as one of the biggest games of the weekend, John, 2-0 versus 2-0, it's the game that you'll get opposite of the Packers game here in the Milwaukee area watching tomorrow or watching on Sunday. 2-0 is 2-0. I didn't think the Vikings would be here, even though I thought that they would be better. Houston, I think everybody was anticipating they would be here, but they lay 2 going to Minnesota, which is not a super easy place to play, especially during the daytime with the lights and the sun blasting through those panels up there in the roof. That's going to be a fascinating game to watch at noon.
Yeah, and I think we're going to really find out about Minnesota this week, right? You caught San Francisco a little bit by surprise last week. They have a couple injuries. They're down. This Texans team is humming. They are humming
Big
and
time.
they're full gas. They got all of their pieces, CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, all the way down, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. I mean, this is going to be an outfit. And this Vikings defense, everything that they've done so far, really, I mean, Sam Darnold has been good, but this defense of Brian Flores and the things that he's able to do with them, moving them around, giving disguise, getting after quarterbacks. If they do it this week against the Titans, we are going to have to say, oh, shoot, this team is absolutely for real.
They bring in Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. And now people are going to laugh with the Van Ginkel one, but that dude is an absolute difference maker.
I'm not laughing.
He is an absolute difference maker on the outside. But, John, I thought still that their draft for the Vikings was one of the best ones of the season when everybody thought they were packaging both of those picks, go way up and grab JJ McCarthy. They don't. They stay and they only move up one spot to get JJ. Then they're able to still use that second pick and get Dallas Turner, who is backing up those 2 pass rushers that I mentioned, still getting his reps, the rookie from Alabama. They got a bunch of guys that they can throw into the pass rush. And these 2 teams flipped pass rushers, right? Danielle Hunter in Minnesota for a long time. Now with Houston, Grenard, one of the high-priced guys on the outside, goes to Minnesota from Houston last year. Like, very interesting on who's able to generate more heat, because Stroud made some plays last week against the Bears, but he was under a lot of siege. We talked about Caleb Williams getting heated up in the back end there. Houston was allowing CJ Stroud to get dinged quite a bit by that Bears defense.
I don't think they were that good in the second half, to be honest with you. They kept leaving the door open for the Bears, and there were time after time they could have finished drives to really put the game away, and they didn't. So the Texans do look good, but I'm not sure. This is going to be an interesting game, and I really don't want the Vikings to win, because if the Vikings go 3-0, I got real problems. I got real problems.
Yeah, you are going to have real problems then.
So here's the thing, right? When we look at Minnesota at the beginning of the year, we're like, okay, Sam Darnold's going to start this thing. Okay, we feel all right about that. I mean, he might have some sort of bounce back season, but we feel all right about that position, Armin, don't we? I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse. But they got Sam Darnold in there. Okay, Aaron Jones went there. Man, that's a bummer, but okay. They still have their unbelievable wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. But you looked at the defensive side, and I'm with you, Billy. You looked at the defensive side and you said, okay, now Danielle Hunter's gone, Kendricks is gone, Harrison Smith is still there, but he's got to be 40 years old.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you started feeling good when you looked at this team. But you don't know what you don't know about some of these new guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Van Ginkel gets in there and starts playing, and Bullard, like you said, and Grenard, they have players that Brian Flores will put in premier spots to make plays, and they are making plays through 2 weeks. And that was an exceptional win for them over the 49ers, who looked like Bowsers again, as we expected week 1 without Christian McCaffrey. They didn't look like that against Minnesota. Minnesota handled their own, and they proved that they could play with one big boy team. Now they get a second one in a row. They go and win this game. Minnesota just might be for real.
Yeah, and I should have known more of what a Blake Cashman was, who also came over from the Houston Texans. He had 100 total tackles a year ago. Baldy did a breakdown of him just this past week in their week 2 game. And he's all over the place. Like having 2 backers, one that you sign in free agency, a former 5th round pick, and then Ivan Pace, who was an undrafted guy. That helps build out a defense for the Minnesota Vikings. So interested to see that when Packers play both of those 2 teams within the next month. Elsewhere in the noon slate, and we'll get to the afternoons and the night games coming up here on the other side. But how real are the Saints and how much do the Eagles need to rebound coming in from last week's Monday night tilt? That one in the Dome, John, you've been there. You're the one that can speak to it. That place is going to be litty on Sunday at noon.
Yeah, and just like you said, the Vikings have a chance now to tilt the NFC North with this week's game, get themselves through this week at 3-0. Man, that's a tilt on the NFC North that we didn't anticipate coming at the start of this season. Could be a dogfight with all four teams. This is one that could tilt the entire NFC with the Saints and the Eagles. Right now, the Saints are super high, 45 and a half points per game they're scoring on offense. And the Eagles, they got an ugly win. Well, not an ugly win, but they kind of survived down in Brazil against the Packers. And then they didn't survive the next week against the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints, if the Saints now take care of the Eagles handedly, man, you're going to have stuff coming out of Philadelphia of Nick Sirianni. How much longer does he last? And then everybody's going to be wondering, how do you stop the Saints? Because this team has been on an absolute tear. They are one of those teams that challenges people on the kickoffs. They kick it inbounds nearly every time, and they're tackling them around the 20-25. So they are taking advantage of trying to cover their kickoffs.
And what a difference a couple of weeks can make for the Saints, John. Right now, you mentioned it. They haven't not scored on a Derek Carr-led possession. They've put up 40 in each of these games. They face the Eagles, then they go to Atlanta, to Kansas City. They go into those two games 3-0, and the talk of the NFL, whoo, big time numbers. They drop one. I could realistically see them coming out of that stretch 2-3 if they drop this game to the Eagles. So that is a fun one to watch there at the Caesars Superdome coming up on Sunday. We'll go into the afternoon on the other side as we whip it around the NFL before we make our investments. Got to educate ourselves before we get into these You Better You Bet bets coming up. At 11, we'll have one final contestant who can get themselves in for a chance to beat the guys and eat with the guys at Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse. It's all coming up. It's 9 to noon with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game. Inside the Iron Jock Studios, it's 9 to noon on the game. You want to talk about getting the most bang for your buck? I mean, come on, Iron Jock. Some people listen. People are talking about inflation all over the place. Inflation proof, because they're always giving you a deal at Iron Jock. IronJoc.com is the place to be if you waiting for the fall chill to come back through the year. Long sleeve tees get their turn now through September 29th. When you buy 2 small logoed long sleeve t-shirts, you'll get a third for free. $45 value when you buy 2. Just enter promo code FALLBOGO at checkout. Men's and women's tees available here. IronJock.com, IronJoc.com. John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian whipping around the NFL in literally
Billy,
setting your TV guide here on the weekend.
Can I interject for 1 second and
I'd
just
love you
do
to.
some house cleaning? Nick from Graph asked, and this specifically for Armin, are you guys doing score predictions for You Better You Bet text picks
Good
every
call.
week?
Yes. So are we doing that? I was so excited when we got through it that first week. And so we're going to keep doing it.
We made it work.
We
made it work. I think this is one of those things, Nick, that gives Armin a couple gray hairs every time it gets brought up, every time it gets talked about. Because it's a little difficult for him.
It's hard to categorically, it's hard to catalog all the scores.
It's hard to fact
check. So
check.
my point is, we can do it. I got no problem with it, but I might get some wrong in terms of, if you got the best score, let me know and prove it. But don't also run the joke of like, I had it, and then I have to go back and check.
Now you just gave everybody the absolute key to making your life difficult.
Because I can go back and check if you actually predicted it. So we did it this week. We can do it again. But just,
all right, so Packer predictions.
I'm not going to sit here and say no if you want to do it.
Get the score right of the Packers Titans this
Armin.
week.
Get the
and
score
you will
right.
be playing You Better You Bet next week on Wide Open Wednesday.
But please be aware of it, because there's some I won't be able to go back and see. So just try and stay aware of what it was. Keep it in mind, and if you got it right, alert me so I can go and
so
verify.
you're asking the
Don't be
Nooners to
that
do
guy.
your job.
I'm asking the
That
Nooners.
is exactly what he's
I'm
trying to
asking
do,
the Nooners to help and take an active role in their listenership. Just like when you go to the doctor, they want you to take an active role in your health. I'm asking the Nooners to take an active role, which I know they will, because I know they're loyal, committed, and focused.
Well, they're a part of the show.
Listeners, they're part of the show.
Yeah.
All the guys driving around there, I know they're going to remember their score, and they'll be excited about it, because they'll give the. So yes, if you get the score correct, prediction, and we can confirm it, or you're the closest one and we can confirm it, then you have a chance to get your picks in for You Better You Bet.
All right, West Bend.
That's important, John.
Write down West Bend. Chris has 23-13. Just, you're gonna write that down.
Derek from Whitewater has
Let me-
Packers 26, Titans 16.
Let me get my big scroll out over
You
here.
got 2 10-point victories right there.
Hey, that sounds like victory.
Mailman
People are
Jeff,
firing in.
24-21 Titans.
Go ahead.
Mailman
Say-
Jeff, what the hell?
Jeff, come on, Jeff. Tristan and
Say
Wausau
it
being
again.
way too smart with just take a timestamp picture of the time that you sent it. Nah, it's way too easy.
Now you can mess with those too.
Tyson and Zilla, 2017 Pack.
Write that down.
This reminds me of the time before the internet when
Eddie
they used to
and
do all the
Ticketon.
school closures. The whole day is school closures. Greenfield High School closed.
Oh,
early,
and you're just
snow.
sitting there eating your
Yeah.
bowl of cereal, just waiting for it to flip back to Milwaukee County. Whitnall was always the worst because it was at the back end of
W's,
Milwaukee County.
The W's.
And you're sitting there like MPS was off. We got to be off. It scrolls by.
They're all 10-point
Come on.
victories. Nick and Grafton, 23-13 Packers.
Okay, cool.
Now, I wonder here, John, is there a strategy of people have heard 23-13? They're like, I'm going to jump on that. Feels like we could get multiple. Are we doing that if multiple Nooners have the same guess, or are we just flipping a coin, you get one?
No, I think we agreed that if multiple Nooners do it, we'll have multiple guesses.
I love
week,
that.
Right?
I love that.
Yeah, that was said. So
Yeah.
okay, I think that's fair, right? I mean, it's just a chance
Armin
to guess.
stood up now. This is getting serious. This is getting
It's
serious
just,
in the Iron
got
Jack
me
studio.
stretching out.
if you guess the score correctly,
Yeah,
you're
you should
guaranteed in.
at least a
Even
chance.
if it's a tie, even if there's other people, you're
Yeah.
guaranteed. If you guess this score correctly, you guaranteed to play. You better you bet.
Yeah, Lumberjack Pete, tough. He said 19-13 Packers over Houston. They play Tennessee this weekend. So we are going to want to make sure that we get the right teams in there.
No, if that happens, that'd be very impressive.
Man,
If he
you're-
calls this a month ahead of time, that'd be
I
awesome.
have never heard of Tishigan before in my life, and there are multiple people on here now. From
Tishigan's in the south. It's south of us here, I think, and it's by the border.
Yeah, there's a nice lake, Lake
Lake
Tishigan.
Tishigan. Yep,
Mhm.
yep. Or Tishigan Lake, actually. I think they
One
call
of
it.
those two, yeah.
I think it's a Greg and Franklin
I said Tickigan.
computer.
That's
Why
close
not?
enough. Yeah,
What
close
Greg's
enough.
talking about? Did I say I'm a computer genius somewhere? I don't know. Greg's calling me. I thought you were a computer genius.
No, he
nerd
just
boy.
likes to call you nerd boy. He just doesn't like you very much.
I think
He didn't like
I
you
think
very
he's
much.
really funny. I think I give Greg a lot of credit. He cracks me up all the time. Has super hilarious jokes.
There it is. Hey, 30-21 Packers, Joe and Hartford. Just make sure you get that one.
I would love that.
They're all coming through.
the
They're all
blowouts.
firing up. And a lot of people predicting a victory chicken Monday is at least what I'm being able
Yes.
to see here on the start.
I
A
would love
lot of victory chicken Monday celebrations.
I would love to see that because we had victory chicken this one. John, you had to miss it unfortunately because you were doing the Salvation Army event. However, maybe we can. We gotta get some victory chicken every. I mean, I want to eat chicken no matter what. Do we have to just eat it on a win? Is that the?
Oh,
only
you gotta
thing?
win, you gotta eat it on a victory chicken Monday. You can't just fire off. Oh, it's a Monday we lost. Lost by 2 touchdowns. Hey, let's soak our sorrows in a bucket of chicken.
What?
It's just not the same.
I'm trying to get something cooking for victory chicken. By the way.
Oh, look at you.
no
Okay.
No pun intended.
Wow.
We'll
Putting
see if it
some.
works
You got
out.
some in the fryer, huh?
Mm.
Wow, I don't get a rim shot for
I got
that
a
one,
lot of-
John. I
what's
thought
up
that
with-
one was pretty decent.
I was drinking my Karuba coffee. Sorry about that. Just trying to.
I'm glad that you
I
got
was
something
taking-
working on this red
Yeah,
hot. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to work something. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to write all these scores down.
Yeah, make sure
and
you write
keep
down
them in
all of
my
these and make
ledger.
sure you get them. Aaron in Milwaukee says Packers 12, Tennessee 9. Let's go Kickers. I would be a big fan of a kicker battle, especially those folks with the under. Packers 37.5 is the over under here, and now catching 3 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Will that be an heavily invested upon number when we get to You Better You Bet? Because we got the picks that you need to beat to eat with the guys in You Better You Bet. You're firing off your score predictions to try and be the contestant for You Better You Bet on this upcoming Wide Open Wednesday. And all of it gets answered on the other side. When we send it to the investment window, we take some cold hard cash to the ticketer at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Look around that beautiful 2,000 square foot screen, catch a couple of games, and then invest with You Better You Bet on the other side. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. John Kuhn has some winners for you. Winners, winners, winners. Let's go, Stu. Winners, 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 winners on the other side in hour 3, 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon, hour 3, Football Friday, week 3 of the NFL is on the way, and You Better You Bet is about to be done right here, thanks to Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over 15 years, 3,000 plus wines. Omar's amazing accoutrements. And I think my favorite part is when we go for the You Better You Bet dinner. Now, I was blessed to be able to go last year for the first time. I have not seen somebody be entrusted with the menu quite like John Kuhn at Carnivore when
Yes.
Red Hot just said, John, you figure it out. Like, you figure
Yes.
out these appetizers, you figure out the table, and well done on you by knowing exactly what was going to be the taste for everybody at the table. Because it's a menu that if you don't have some experience with, you want to listen to my man give you the full spiel about. And John's like, hey, I appreciate it. I'll take it from you.
That's true. Although
I'll
John,
take it from you.
Come on, I didn't
I'll
do
take
that.
it from
Red
you. No,
Hot-
you didn't, but it was like, that was all great. Don't worry, guys. I got us. And I was like, thank goodness, because otherwise
well,
I was
I
going to
did
be
do that.
real nervous.
Red Hot is a delegator. All right. Red
Yeah,
Hot is a
delegating the
delegator.
clause. That's well done.
And
Well said.
It went right to the dinner table. He delegated. John's got it. You take care of it, John. I'm about
John's got us. John's
Now-
got us.
Now it's different. We used to do the side dish, the draft. We used to all go around and draft one of the side dishes, which I like that. I like that because I knew
I'll never forget Drew and Greenfield's line. I've already had my greens.
I've already had
I
my
will
greens.
take
It's an
whipped
awesome one.
potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, and that's what's great about that dinner is like something different always happens. There's always a different story, whether it's our buddy, remember Mike John from Franklin throwing bread around.
Throwing bread.
Oh,
and-
telling us-
you can't do that, by the way.
Telling
You
us
can't
do
do
that.
that.
stories from when he was overseas serving our country in the 60s and
That's what I'm
70s.
talking about.
Some
Thank you so
wild-
much for your service.
Very
Thank you.
much, but he had some wild stories.
It's what we stress when we say experience, right?
Yeah.
A modern experience meets a classic steakhouse at Carnivore, and the experience that you're going to get if you are lucky enough to win, You Better You Bet, is going to really be unlike any other. Like, now you're not going to have the steak knife with your own name on it. However, you're going to be able to see it, witness it, and John, I think my favorite part of it is the espresso martini that they fired out there that I was able to end up grabbing there at the back end. I mean, like,
I
if you're
think it's
talking about
the-
you need a little life at the back end, they do it right there at Carnivore.
We do a lot of fun stuff, but I think it's the premiere. This is our Super Bowl.
Yes, totally
This is
agree.
our Super Bowl here on 9 to noon, maybe the entire 97.3 The Game station, right?
I wouldn't
no,
even
no,
say
no, no, no.
maybe. I think this is the number one.
No,
Like,
Nooner Days are our Super Bowl. Stop. What? You don't think Nooner Days are our Super Bowl? This
Okay.
is our NFL honors.
no,
dinner.
see, I think Nooner Day is more of like the opening day,
All
right?
right.
Like,
Nooner
opening
Day is
day is a
opening day.
national
All right.
holiday.
Fine.
Everybody rolls
Fine.
through. Only 2 make it to the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
just
Yeah,
Right,
not,
like, good
yeah,
point.
this is the
All
Super
right.
Bowl.
Yeah,
all right.
You know?
That's a good, the way you put it is
You got to
right.
fight and battle for an entire season for this thing, and only 2 are left standing. This is the Super Bowl.
That's true. Everybody
Yeah.
can come to
Nooner
dinner
Day-
day.
Nooner
Yeah.
Day is opening day. Nooner
Yeah.
Day is what
National
last week
holiday
was at
is really
Lambeau
what it
Field.
should
By
be.
the way, did you notice last week Lambeau opened the parking lots over 4 hours before the game?
Okay, so it wasn't just me. John, we pulled
That
up
was
there at
unheard
10
of.
and
That
it was
was crazy.
absolutely buzzing. It was buzzing when we pulled up there at 10:15.
I show up 4 hours before every game. I
Yeah.
got there at 8 o'clock, and the parking lots were half filled at 8 o'clock already. They're not.
Bad day
They
to be
say
here.
3 hours before the game.
Mhm.
This was 4 hours before the game. People were already unloaded, fully stocked with tables and tents and everything. It was unbelievable last week.
And
Why is
first
that?
thing I thought of, John, was, so when do they actually open these things? Because a couple of those folks, much like people at Nooner Day, pulled up maybe an hour or so before, waiting to get in there, and they're like, you know what? Set that Blackstone up. Fire up some bacon, fire up some pancakes. We know that thing's going to have smash burgers and brats on it by the end of this tailgate. Get yourself working and get yourself rolling for this home opener. Let's start celebrating. That's beautiful. Beautiful start. Now, you talk about it being a Super Bowl. You got to scratch. You got to fight. You got to claw. You got to do anything you can to be a contestant on You Better You Bet.
You better.
You better, you better, you bet.
You better.
You better, you better, you
Yeah.
bet.
You better do anything and everything you can to be a contestant. Like when the host does not say a number and forgets to throw out the phone number and forgets to set up the segment on the previous side. It helps to go to the football feast on Thursday night. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, as Anthony in Saukville is your contestant here today on a Football Friday. Anthony showed up at the football feast last night. Announcer makes a mistake right over here, guys. Anthony's going to be your contestant. I mean, that's a winner right there.
And Anthony did call just now. I don't want anyone to think I'm
No, he
playing
called.
fit.
He was ready. And I said, you know what? My mistake. But he was at the football feast and had himself a great time. I can only assume because everybody had themselves a great time at the football feast in Germantown
Has
last
Anthony
night.
in Saukville been to one of these dinners?
No, he has never won.
Oh,
right, Anthony?
that's one of those patches that you got to earn. He hasn't earned that patch yet.
No, I'm not good at guessing games.
Well,
You
don't
should
guess.
predict them.
Even better. Just know them. Just have them locked in. I know you got them written down. Anthony, what's the first pick? Where are you headed?
We're going to go right away to Colts over Bears.
Love it. Colts.
The Bears are a miserable team.
Colts -1. Anthony says the Bears are miserable. John, I think there's going to be a bunch of Bear fans at Lucas Oil for that noon boom on Sunday, but I think that's going to be a grinded out game, a good old slobber knocker, as some would say. But sadly, I think the wrong team's favored.
Just remember now, DeForest Buckner is out there for the Indianapolis Colts. That's a big loss for them. A team that has led up 200 yards rushing in back-to-back games. That's a scary one.
That's a scary proposition. Let's go to our second pick. Anthony, where are you going?
We're going to go Bucks over the Bronx. We got to go all the way. Let's see, where are we? Oh, we're playing in. Yeah, I'm going with the Bronx.
Going with the Broncos?
Bucks.
You're going to
No,
Broncos?
the Bucks.
Going the Bucks over the Broncos. Okay.
Got it. Thank
Broncos losing to the Buccaneers by more than 7 as the Buccaneers are laying 6.5 at home, John, as they are 2-0 for the 4th consecutive season there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Bo Nix era has not started well for the Broncos here.
Sweepstakes.
They had themselves a pretty good preseason with them, but it has not started off well. And Baker Mayfield now has revitalized his career so much that he has journalists asking him about reviving other quarterbacks' careers.
It's awesome.
Yeah, like he's the
an evangelist.
The evangelist now, like the recruiter. Yeah, right. Exactly.
He's gonna save everybody as he's trying to save Bryce Young. He's
gonna sell his picks, right?
Yeah,
right.
he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He's got winners. Anthony in Saukville's got winners. What's your next winner here on pick number 3, Anthony?
Texans over the Vikings.
Texans laying 2 against the Vikings. We talked about this one a little bit, John, but Joe Mixon's availability might be maybe the most interesting part here for Houston. He runs for $150 game 1, gets hurt game 2. Damian Pierce, their backup, also hurt. Cam Akers, former Ram, also former Viking. Looks like he might be getting the start there for Houston.
Yeah. Again, Aaron Jones, what does he do in this football game for the Minnesota Vikings? And what does Sam Darnold do? It's that Vikings defense, though, that's been keeping them alive here early on in the season. Brian Flores has them humming. Can they slow down the Texans? That's the big question.
Justin Jefferson said yesterday he is playing in this game on Sunday. Jordan Addison, maybe not so much. He was a non-participant in Thursday's practice for the Minnesota Vikings. Anthony, what's your next pick?
We're going to go Pittsburgh Steelers over the Superchargers.
Here we go. Pittsburgh laying 1.5. Maybe one of the most physical games on the docket. Not going to say almost. The most physical game, I will predict, John, of the slate coming up here with the Chargers and Steelers.
Over under of 35.5. Yeah, I think Vegas agrees with you at the physicality of this one. You got Harbaugh and Tomlin, and what's going to give? Justin Fields, 2-0 as a starter in Pittsburgh. A lot of people riding the Steelers until they see a hiccup, and all they do is win. That's all Tomlin does.
It's really amazing. Final pick here for Anthony in Saukville. Where are we going?
We're going to go with the Detroit Kitties over the Redbirds of the Cardinals.
Taking the Motor City Kitties, rolling out to Glendale, Arizona, laying 3. John, you really look into the numbers of their game a week ago against the Buccaneers that they end up losing by 4. Detroit was pretty impressive, just wasn't able to finish. Big one here as Arizona got tons of momentum after just beating the brakes off of LA.
Yeah, and I picked this one, but I picked it the opposite way. I got the Cards. I got the Cards in this one.
Yeah, interesting game.
Playing at home.
Home dog.
I think they have something figured out on their offensive side. But again, you mentioned it. The Lions played good offensively last week, just did not finish in the red zone.
All right, Anthony, which of those illustrious picks are you locking in?
We're going to lock in the Bucks over the Broncos.
Locking the Bucks over the Broncos, laying 6.5. Anthony, appreciate it, man. As always, tune in on Tuesday to see if you qualify for the playoffs in You Better You Bet. All right, John. So you just gave us an appetizer. You just gave us your first pick here on You Better You Bet, the picks that people need to beat to eat with the guys, or more importantly, just get themselves into the playoffs for the opportunity to beat the guys and eat with the guys at Carnivore Milwaukee's premier steakhouse. So Cards catch the 3 against the Lions.
Yeah, I picked all favorites last week. I did not do too good picking heavy favorites.
Winners.
We're going nothing but winners this week, and Cards +3 at home. I love taking home teams catching points, especially if I feel like the teams are close together. As long as it's not the Panthers and the Giants, I like points at home. Cards are catching 3. I like that against the Lions. And then I'm going to take another team here at home. Colts -1 against the Bears. I think they have a bounce back offensively. I think their defense is going to struggle without DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
But the Bears offense has struggled too. I think that's bad versus bad. But when you go good versus good, I think the Colts offense is going to get it figured out this week. I got the Colts -1 at home against the Bears. Saints in the Dome against the Eagles, -2.5. That's only a field goal they got to win by. The Saints are putting up massive amounts of points behind Derek Carr. I like that to continue this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then this one, a game of a winless Harbaugh team. Favorites on the road by only 1 point at the Cowboys. The Cowboys just got ran over, ran through, and ran out of their own building by the Saints and Alvin Kamara. Now Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson come to town. What could go wrong there? I got the Ravens -1 at Dallas. And then I finish with this. First time I'm going to do it all year. I'm picking the Packers +3 at Tennessee.
Let's go.
Catching 3 points today. I bet you by the time this game kicks off, it's a pick'em game because I think Jordan Love is playing, and I'm taking the Packers +3, and I'm locking that one in as my lock.
Let's go. I like that. And that Ravens-Cowboys game will be very interesting, in my opinion.
Super interesting.
They don't want to go 0-3, the Ravens.
Now you just hit refresh on Potawatomi and see if you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing.
All right, hold on. Let me just find this. Refresh. And pick the. I just saw it. It just happened. Did it just happen? Did you change
They must
it?
have just dropped it.
John, move the line.
Packers +2.5.
2.5. John, move the line.
What the heck?
I got it.
Golly,
you
good
were.
snipe.
Yeah, you were in there.
Good snipe.
Man, John, you're moving the line.
Dude, that is a great pull. All right, I'm going to fire it up here with a couple of maybe strange ones. I'm right there, but I'm right there with John, and I'm going to start it with the winless Harbaugh. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens -1 against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. They can't start 0-3 if they're going to go to the playoffs. They're still -145 to go to the playoffs of the Baltimore Ravens. Give me Baltimore over Dallas. And probably the surprising one for most, I'm taking the 4.5, and I'm taking the Miami Dolphins with Skylar Thompson and company going across the country. Okay. The furthest flight you possibly can have in the NFL.
Oh, my goodness.
From Miami to Seattle. Mm-hmm. Seattle just made the same flight a week ago when they went to New England and played a very, very tight, very close game against a team that we just watched look abysmal on offense against the New York Jets. I also think Skylar Thompson, while he may not be good, he may not be worse than many people are believing he is. This is a guy that played a tight game. He has played in the NFL. He's been in that system for multiple years. And all you got to do, get the ball to Tyreek Hill, get the ball to Jalen Waddle, get the bleep out of the way. Give me the 4.5 with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
Going to Seattle. Maybe not win, but closer than the experts think. Now, this one I'm really going to be wild for. Give me the Red Rocket. Give me the 6 points. And give me the Carolina Panthers going to Las Vegas, catching 6 against Gardner Minshew and the Las Vegas Raiders.
That is insanity.
Billy, you're wilding out on me here.
That is insanity.
Massive excitement, massive energy.
You just picked two backup quarterbacks.
2 backup quarterbacks. They got so much excitement, so much hype there in Las Vegas. What do you do in Las Vegas with all that energy? You land. You're fired up. We're going to kill the bookmaker, right? No, they're going to do that to you, Stu. Sorry. Raiders win. Wow. Don't cover. Give me the Panthers, keeping it close.
Let's go.
With Andy Dalton returning to the starting lineup for the first time in almost 2 years.
Billy's gambling here. No,
this one might be even crazier.
Oh, no. What? Now what? What do you got for me here?
After the best answer I have ever heard at a press conference, give me Bo Nix and the Broncos catching 6.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This is crazy.
You know what? I think I know what you're doing here, and I like it. All right, keep going. Broncos plus 6.5.
Plus 6.5.
I think I know what's going on here. All right.
That didn't work last night, Armin. It didn't work last night.
It didn't work last night.
I think this is a system play here.
It
on the
didn't
points.
work last night.
Is
You want it one more time?
Well, because so far you got a total of, let me count them up here, 10.5. You got 17 points of wood you're playing with here. Go ahead. Well, now what?
How much did you say? 17.5?
I'm looking for even a bigger dog here. Are you going to go with Washington?
25 points of wood. Give me Washington plus the
gosh.
7.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night.
I actually like this experiment here. All right. I like this experiment.
Underdogs have rolled all year long
Let's see
Till
if this
last
works.
until last night, until that mean machine and the gang green
It was Thursday.
just beat up that underdog of the New England Patriots. Don't
All
matter.
right, Billy.
I'm going with it.
Billy's got Ravens -1, Dolphins plus 4.5, Panthers plus 6, Broncos plus 6.5, Commanders plus 7.5. We know what Big Wood's been doing. Let's see if it'll work. The big time underdogs. I'm interested to see how this turns out. Who's your lock, Billy?
I'm locking my only favorite. I'm locking the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
I'm going to take all the wood, but I'm going to lock in John to try to get 2 with a winless Harbaugh. And then I'm going to play the system and see how the field ends
People
up
are
rolling.
wondering if there's shenanigans going on. Tristan Walsall, this is a total quilt from last week's perfect week. He's throwing it in. And then Kenny the Slick Watson says, I love it too, Billy. I love Andy Dalton. He'll straighten out the Raiders. Big letdown week for them.
Well, let's see.
Big
Let's
one.
wait and see. Let's let the games do the talking. This is I like that. I like this experiment. All right, we'll see if it
I'm
works.
fired up for it now. Those at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, as we lay down our 5 plays that pay for You Better You Bet, we got one pick that is an absolute can't miss for you this weekend.
Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook, the place to take in any of your sports favorites, any football games, any WNBA playoff games, any tennis, any golf, any baseball, playoff baseball. Coming soon to
Fights.
Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. The fight nights are even the best on a 2,000 square foot LED screen. You can literally see the sweat or the blood and the punches right there in your face as you sit lavishly in a leather couch. Kick your feet up, get some bottle service, or just get a coon dog ordered to your table. $12 for a coon dog and a side. That's a deal, and it's more than one meal. How about this, guys? Last night, pick the underdogs, did not win. Went with the system play, just like Billy just did. Lost, took that L. Now I'm 2-2 on the week, but I'm going for 7 straight winning weeks.
Keep this
So
winning streak alive. We need a winner.
I got to keep
Come
the
on,
winning
baby.
streak alive, and I'm going college football. College football Saturday. The game of the weekend, Saturday at 6:30, takes place in Oklahoma. Tennessee traveling to Oklahoma, 2 top 10 SEC teams, and I'm taking Tennessee -7. This offense has not been stopped, not even close to being slowed down by anybody. This will be their best test of the season so far, traveling to Oklahoma. But Josh Heupel, the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, he has some payback. This is a Josh Heupel revenge game after being fired 10 years ago as the offensive coordinator in Oklahoma. He said that cut was deep.
Okay.
Josh Heupel getting in his bag with an offense that has a lot of tools in that bag. The Tennessee Volunteers and Josh Heupel go to Oklahoma and win by more than 7.
All right, there you go. Tennessee Volunteers -7. Nice angle on Heupel, John. It's been a long time. I didn't remember that, so that's a good angle right there.
I love that one. I cannot wait
get
for
it
that
win.
game
Let's
coming
keep,
up on
let's
Saturday.
keep this streak alive. We need another winning week. Let's make
It's
it happen.
the first time Oklahoma has been a dog at home since 2016 in this game. That is going to be a
That's amazing.
fascinating one.
And not a slight dog either, a full touchdown.
Yeah, full touchdown.
Yeah.
Full touchdown. People love that Tennessee quarterback.
They look good.
Not even going to try to insult his family by dropping that name here on the show. We're going to talk about the Packers quarterback on the other side. Will he or won't he? Do they need him to or do they not? Most importantly, do we think you see Jordan Love on Sunday when all these cheeseheads just invade Nissan Stadium and head down to Nashville and take over Broadway? As the Packers try to get their first win ever in Tennessee over the Titans 0-3 all time. It's 9 to noon. This is hour 3. We promise it's the best one yet, and it continues with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin next on the game. 9 to noon on the game. We love talking to you on a football Friday, especially when the Packers are heading down to Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. They have not won against this Titans team in Tennessee ever. 0-3 all time since the Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee. Now, they apparently called themselves the Tennessee Oilers for a couple of years.
Yes, 2 years. They were, or 1 year maybe, but whatever it was. They played in Memphis because it wasn't ready in Nashville, the stadium, and they were the Tennessee Oilers. Absolutely. Packers played them as the Tennessee Oilers in 98, I want to say. Won that game at Lambeau. It was really weird, but it made me feel good because the Oilers look is still one of the best throwback retro looks ever.
Do you believe it? Do you believe it should belong to the Houston Texans, or do you believe it should belong to the Tennessee Titans? When they rock those throwbacks, should the Titans be rocking the Houston Oilers throwbacks, or should it be the Houston Texans?
It's a huge debate.
I think it's the Titans.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm with you on that. There was a hot conversation.
If Milwaukee's
about it last year.
not allowed to claim, if the Brewers aren't allowed to claim a championship because of the Milwaukee Braves, then the Houston Texans can't claim the Oilers uniform.
I like that.
Well, yes, franchise records and history is different. However,
if they would have called themselves the Houston Oilers,
it's always been tough
when they came back, like when the Texans were founded, if they
Yeah.
would have called themselves the Oilers, then I would say, all right, we're gonna have an Art Modell situation.
It's tough because Bud Adams ripped them out of town, right? Okay, so then they hated what they represented because it was the owner stealing the team from them, just like Art Modell. But Cleveland fans wanted their legacy of the Cleveland Browns, which I totally respected, and the Houston didn't. The Houston fans didn't want Oilers, right? When the Texans came, I shouldn't say didn't. I don't know, but I
think they voted on Texans.
They
if I'm
voted
not
on.
mistaken.
Okay, I don't know if Oilers was an option or not. I tend to think it should stay with Tennessee. The more I lean toward it. However, it's not a slam dunk for me. It really isn't. But I would like them to be the
pulls you
Oilers.
back? What pulls you back and tells you it should
Because
be in Houston?
when I think of Oilers, I think of Houston because oil, Texas. That's Jack Party. That's Buddy Ryan and
big old hats with
getting in
Bud.
fights.
Oh yeah,
Buddy Ryan getting in fights with
But the
Kevin
Titans
Gilbride.
aren't saying they actually draw oil. They're just saying, hey, this
were
is
the
our
Oilers.
throwback. This is where we came
Well,
from.
that's kind of why I think it doesn't. Yeah, just for the throwback.
well,
I guess.
and since it's still in the family, since it's still with Amy Adams Strunk,
yeah.
I do think that they should stick with Tennessee. Now, if they would have sold the team that way, then it would have been a different story.
But then part of me thinks, okay, you're just using the team and the city and the branding that you ripped away just to make money because people want the Oilers look.
Yes, we want to make money. That is what we're trying to
And
do.
I just,
That is what we're trying to
but
do.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't mind. I know that that's the process. It's fine, but I'm not going to sit here and say I cheer for that. You know what I mean?
Okay,
No.
so. I didn't expect that to be as exhilarating as it was, but I do think it's topic
Maybe
of
you should change
conversation.
your expectations.
Armin is like he has. You could tell right now he has one on his right shoulder and one on his left shoulder. And
Totally.
those two little Armins are just going to war right now with each other. Just like, no, it should stick with the city because they drill oil in
Well,
Texas. They don't
trying
do
to-
it in Tennessee. And then the other side is like, yeah, but we came from Texas. We
That's where
grew
we are
up in
from.
Texas. We are from Texas. We should be able to put those Oilers uniforms on.
Try to think critically about it, and try and think maybe what's the dialogue internally about it. Yeah, but
More
the point is, I love the look, and I want an old Oilers jacket. You know, what I
More
mean?
importantly, I want to know about the conversations that are being had in house and those interior about quarterback Jordan Love. Like, all due respect, I don't care all that much about the uniforms
Fair.
with Tennessee. I want to know the inside conversations going on about Jordan Love. John, I mentioned it that to Matt Schneidman that Wayne Larrabee said last night. I didn't put him on my spotting board. He said he might just be jinxing it. Wayne understands that and openly said, I'm probably jinxing this, so he will run out there and start most likely on Sunday, but didn't think he's going. Do you think Jordan Love is going at this point? Because we saw him yesterday in pads, but he was limited, as Matt LaFleur said very forcefully to the assembled media yesterday.
Yeah. And that's the term that they'll use, right? And I think he's probably, I would assume, even though he's limited, he's taken the reps with the team. If he has his shoulder pads on, I watched the film of him an individual and him warming up, and he looks good. I think he looks good. I think he looks good enough to play. Are the Packers cautious with him? That is the question. How close were they to clearing him last week? Because this is a whole additional week on top of that. And if he was 50-50 last Friday, I'm going to assume he's better than 50-50 this Friday. You never know until, we look. But if we see Saturday, if we see Sean Clifford get elevated, that could be a sign. That could be a sign. If he gets elevated tomorrow, that could be something to take a look at.
Mhm.
But I think he's going to play, Billy, and I think that's what's going to get the Packers over the edge here. When they go in to Tennessee, they're going to need more of a threat in the passing game than what they had this past week against the Colts. Malik Willis did fine. Malik Willis was only here for 20 days. I think what he did was great. I'm giving him all the flowers he deserves. But you're going to need more than that, and I think you're going to need Jordan Love to win this football game.
I really think you're going to need him to win the game, John, when you talk about the passing game, because you're going to have to beat some pretty good corners there with Tennessee. We've talked a lot about their defense and a lot about what's up front with Sweat and Simmons there, but they did get L'Jarius Sneed from Kansas City in the offseason. Roger McCreary is a pretty solid guy on the outside as well. They're just veteran laden. Quandre Diggs is back there. He's played ball for, 8, 9, 10 years. So I just think they're very veteran on the outside that for as much confidence and excitement we have in the Packers wide receivers, getting open is not going to be the easiest of tasks coming up this week, and you're not going to be able to lean on the ground game as much as you did a week ago. I think that's why Jordan Love is even more impactful, just because we've talked so much about that defense, but I don't think we've talked about what they got on the outside, which is some good dudes.
And their secondary might even be their strongest spot
Yeah.
overall. We talked about going from the front lines with Jeffrey Simmons and Sebastian Joseph Day to the second line with the inside linebackers. But goodness gracious, when you talk about Awuzie from Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
he was a ball player there.
Baller.
And he still is. They went in free agency hard. They got Awuzie in free agency. They got L'Jarius Sneed in free agency. And they've really shored up their outside. You like McCreary. He's the nickelback. He's kind of a quick twitch guy. But then at the safety position, again, free agency, Quandre Diggs, he's been around for a long time. And I like Hooker as a strong safety. I think he's a ball player too. So I think the secondary is their strongest unit on the defensive side.
Yeah, and they've made some deals. Like Ernest Jones was one of the last guys in training camp to end up getting traded from LA. Like that was kind of a surprise that he gets traded from the Rams over to Tennessee. They have Jamal Adams in the back end backing up, and that they deploy in different spots. Like they just have a lot of unique pieces. They got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and you're going to have to be savvy to beat them in the pass game. And that's going to be a very, very tall task. However, the 0-2 record will look, Tennessee's a better football team than they've ended up getting the results on this side. I'm with you though, John. Like, and I was, Schneidman and I last night on the Football Feast were the only ones that did think that he plays. We were being asked, do you think maybe they sit him and he's the number 2, but he suits up and backs up Malik Willis, and it's a break glass in case of emergency. If 10's ready to go, he plays, he starts. And I just see way too many videos, like you said, of him looking good in those shoulder pads. He wasn't going to be out there in shoulder pads if he didn't think he had a real chance to go.
If you don't start Jordan Love, this is the thing. If you don't start Jordan Love, then you understand that the risk is losing the football game. So you don't put him in case of what would the emergency be? The emergency is not lose the football game at that point.
Yeah.
If he's there available to play, it's not in an emergency to lose the game. It's, hey, he's here because we want to win the game, because we are only here to win the game. If he doesn't play, it's because you're saying I am risking losing this. If he doesn't start, I should say, it's I'm risking losing this game because I'm prioritizing his health for next week against Minnesota.
Right. In that case, you wouldn't want him to be active at all, then I would think. So that's why.
Correct.
I don't think that's going to happen. It's hard at this point for me to say, well, I think Love will play or not. I mean, the vibes are there. He's been practicing. He looks okay. But the Wayne Larry spotting board thing, man, that's got me pumping the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, it had me a little skittish yesterday too.
I think the trick.
It gave Drew Olson a lot of confidence when Drew heard it though, because Drew also doesn't think he plays. So Drew's like, okay, now we go. Now I got Wayne on my side, probably winning.
I've gone into practices and Doc McKenzie would be like, all right, John, you're going to be limited today. And then I'd say, okay. And then I'd go to my position coach and I'd say, I'm going to take all the plays.
Yeah, I'm going to play.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm limited. I'm listed as limited. I'm going to take all the plays.
So he's not like jumping on the field to push you away and say, stop playing, right? I mean,
no, and here's the thing too. It's practice. So we're talking about if he's even considering a game, he should be able to get through the practice because nobody's going to get near him at the practice. They're going to go after the lineman, and we know crazy things can happen. People can fall, but nobody's going to get near him at practice. So you're going to go out there and take a couple. Since Jordan Love doesn't need to practice to play. He said that last week. That came out of the head coach's
It
mouth.
did.
Don't need to practice to play. And if that was the case last week, all signs to me point to Jordan Love playing in this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and it's one of the other reasons why, as we just look from an investment opportunity here. Now, John ended up getting it locked in at Potawatomi just before the wire changed, and he moved it to 2.5 again in favor of the Tennessee Titans. I think that 38 is maybe my most excited part because I think Tennessee is better than people are giving them credit for. I also think, John, this is the right time to catch Tennessee. Like, if you were playing this team in week 13, I think they're much different. They got Bill Callahan coaching the offensive line, one of the best offensive line coaches in football. They got 2 top 10 picks in Peter Skoronski from a year ago, J.C. Latham from Alabama playing left tackle this year. They add in Cushenberry, center from Denver, who was really, really good. They've got a lot of young pieces as well as some veteran skill players that I think end up figuring it out. Like, this is the right time, in my estimation, to get a team that I think is going to get better as the year goes on, just because I think they're figuring out how to play together right now here in week 3.
Well, and everybody gets better as the year goes on. Generally,
Good teams do, yeah.
With an exception of every now and then you see a team come out feverishly hot. Eagles last year, and then teams get that one scouting report where a team beat them, right? And then they use that scouting report over and over and over and over, and that team's not able to get over that one hump. I still maintain Jalen Hurts was hurt last year. I still believe that was a big part of what happened to them. But this Tennessee team, even if Malik Willis does play, I think the Packers can win. I just think it's going to be that much tougher.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be tough to move the ball against their defense. Having Jordan Love will obviously help that because it'll give you more of a well-rounded, dynamic passing side of the offense. Offensively, Will Levis, now, the Packers with Malik Willis can win this game because Will Levis can give it to him. If Jordan Love plays, then I feel really good about this because I feel like, we neutralize what they do on defense with our good being back, and then we have an advantage because, again, Will Levis can give it to you.
This might be an illogical way to think, but the thing that worries me is I don't know if I can count on Will Levis making another dumb mistake like that. Like, the first 2 weeks, he's done things that is so dummy. Like, this is unusual.
Well, Armin, you saw his dumb mistakes, but he has 5 turnovers on you.
I know. I just
smart decisions aren't.
I
Always
guess
the
I
greatest ones
wonder
either.
how much can I expect that to sustain. Just like I hope we keep taking the ball away as a defense, which we've been good at this year. I hope that sustains. It's one of those things I don't know if I can count on happening. But
it depends. Are you trusting the trends, or are you going to fade the trends?
He's the most pressured quarterback in the league.
That's the thing. So
expecting him to make some dumb mistake, okay, maybe not expect that, but he's still the most pressured quarterback in the league. We should have pressure this week.
Yeah, I think the flip side,
and
too,
hopefully sacks, John. Like, I get, and I love that, not trying to get sacks. All right, as an offensive line lover, I think all defenses should go on this plan of not trying to get sacks. Just, surround the pocket and don't let him escape. Let's do that. Let's not get these sacks. Nice guys. However, let's get some. That's the right way to go. I'm done with
I've seen enough of the containment for 2 weeks. Now I'm ready to let the dogs out.
Yeah, let's get 3 or 4 here and enjoy it a lot better.
I'm taking that personally.
Matt in Milwaukee, are we playing the Tennessee Titans or the 85 Bears? By the way, you're enamored with this defense. Got a lot of pieces, man. Got a lot of pieces. They also have only allowed 208 yards a game in the first 2 games, a wide margin as the first team in the NFL, best right now in the league to do it. So we'll give our picks right here on the other side. John Coons already locking that thing in with the +3. I like the over. Armin Sarian's got his winner on the other side as we round third, head for home. It's 9 to noon on the game. We celebrate the Packers not having an owner. Sometimes it works out. Like if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan coming up this weekend, Levi Restaurants and the Atlanta Falcons have ordered 100,000 hot dogs and bags of chips in preparation for a mass giveaway this Sunday against the Chiefs, celebrating Arthur Blank's induction into the Falcons Ring of Honor. During their home game against Kansas City, every fan inside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which seats 72,000, will receive a free hot dog, chips, and Coca-Cola product in a souvenir cup in promotion to highlight Blank's 2016 decision to implement fan-friendly pricing at the new stadium, as he is added into the team's Ring of Honor for the halftime celebration.
Oh, congratulations. Now, there's nothing to
You
shake a
deserve
stick.
it.
There's nothing
You
to
deserve
there's
it. You
no-
own the team.
Yeah.
Put your name anywhere you want.
Throw it up
in
there.
that stadium.
Congrats, man.
You own the team. Go up into the
I
ring.
love it.
Put your name up there. Put it in gold font. I don't
This is
care.
great.
24 karat
Yeah,
gold font.
whatever you
Put it
want,
up
man.
there.
Guys, first order of business as the owner, I'm putting myself in the Ring of Honor. I'm putting, and
We
I'm
need
gonna,
to celebrate.
I'm giving myself
me.
a gift. Now,
And
nothing to
potato chips for everybody,
Wait,
please.
wait,
Thank
wait,
you.
wait, now, wait.
Chips for everyone.
Let's just say this. As funny as this is, there's nothing to shake a stick at. They have the cheapest concessions in football, and I do appreciate them doing this for our fans. Free meal is nothing to shake a stick at when you're at a game. That's a
Well,
value.
I'm gonna be
Could you
excited about
imagine
it,
that
yeah.
meeting? Could you imagine a meeting? They're sitting at this round table with all the big ups, all the VPs, the entire fifth floor there in the Atlanta
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
building. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this home game and we're gonna put my name
yeah.
in the Ring of Honor.
We're gonna choose you.
But Arthur, how are we gonna celebrate this? I got it. Potato chips
Chips and
for
hot
everybody.
dogs. Everybody gets one. Walk
Well-
into the gate, you get it. Now,
What
you
was the process for putting him in the Ring of Honor? I mean, obviously he's the owner. He wants.
he purchased the team in 2002 from Taylor Smith, the son of team founder Rankin Smith
Taylor
Sr.
Swift, huh?
In September 2004,
Yeah.
he bought the Arena Football League there, the Georgia Force. I mean, he's now gotten a brand new stadium. They've gone to a Super Bowl since he has taken ownership, and he owns the team. So
I like
I'm going
him.
to put my name in the Ring of Honor.
I like him. I just don't think up at the board meeting, no one's voting no on that. I don't think anyone. Man, they probably had a right. They
Arthur
probably had a
Morris
meeting.
Blank in up for discussion on Ring of Honor.
Yeah. They
Who
probably,
says no?
Can you imagine them voting against that?
Rick's totally going to be the guy to say it.
Sir, I don't know if this is great optics. You're fired. Get out.
Get out.
Well, we didn't win a Super Bowl. Well, we did lose that game.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're fired. All right. Anybody else opposed?
Nice guy though.
Done.
Right?
All right. We're
Done.
going to do it.
We're
At
good.
the,
We're
we're going to do it at the season opener. All right. We're going to do it at the home opener.
And don't give him his chips. All right, he doesn't get his free chips.
He doesn't get his chip.
This is like when Dorn activated himself in Major League 2 as the GM. I'm activating myself. Okay.
What is the second order of business in that meeting?
Yeah.
He goes from that to, all right, now we need to find ourselves a head coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Head coach, maybe quarterback. No. Hot dogs. They do have, as you mentioned, they got the cheapest stuff in the league.
gotta give
$2
them
hot
credit.
dogs,
Yeah.
pretzels, and popcorn, and $5 beers,
That's a big
which is a
deal.
big winner right there.
There's no
Because you got to
beer-
crush a lot of
No.
$5 beers if you're an Atlanta
There's
Falcons
no
fan watching
other-
these games.
It's not a cheaper beer in pro sports. Can we agree? Probably nowhere in pro sports at any stadium are you getting a cheaper beer in Major League Sports than
Well, then why
$5.
not? Then why not do the free beer for everybody too? You're giving them a hot dog. You're
Yeah.
giving them chips. It's going to make them thirsty.
Make
Give
it a
them a
cold
beer
one.
or a soft drink.
Well, they get a Coca-Cola.
Oh,
They get a Coke,
Yeah,
and, and Coca-Cola products in a souvenir
Armin's
cup.
more excited about the soda. Than
Well, no, I'm just saying, didn't you? And a souvenir cup. Those cups are like $8 or
with
$9.
his face and his name on it.
Gotta have his face on it. If
Thank
it doesn't,
you,
I'm gonna
Arthur.
be so mad.
Yeah, you probably get a free car flag when you go in that says "Thank you, Arthur." You know, or something like that.
No, the car flag was today when you
I
went and
know.
saw Brian Butch at the Brewers postseason pep rally. I wonder, did any Nooners go and grab themselves the Brian Butch flag?
I would
More
think.
importantly, I would wonder, like, as you're driving up, did you get to go in the Pat Murphy line, Robin Yount line, Donald Driver line, Brian Butch line?
Well, that's a good question. Do you pick a line and hopefully when those cars are driving in, because
Do you
they're
have to pick
excited.
a line, or do they just usher you into a line?
Well, that was what I'd love to know. Now,
Making
I
sure
did not
all
wake
the
up
lines-
early enough.
Making sure all the lines.
Yeah, the same number of people.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But you want to be nice.
Well, it was Brian directing traffic because those lines can get long.
You
Okay?
That
have
would
to get
probably be-
rear-ended like I did, just to get a
Oh.
good cup of coffee.
Okay, Brian, I get it. I got it. I gotta be careful, but he heard me yesterday. He didn't like it. I gotta be
what
careful.
do you mean?
Well, I just gotta be careful, Brian. Look, Butch, I love you, Butch. If you're out there, I love you. But I just think it's awesome that he was going there and selected to do it.
Hey, come on now, McDonald's All-American.
Sweat equity.
Yeah,
I just more importantly would like to know if they introduced him.
Brian Butch.
That's
right?
the one we don't have. I thought we had. I thought it was ready. I thought it was ready, John. I'm sorry.
I
set it
love
up,
when you
man.
quiz Armin for drops, and
Well, after I get
you
cut
can
off
see
twice,
the
I'm like,
wheels
I gotta
spinning.
have one.
The wheels are spinning in
I
his
didn't have
head.
it.
Like, what's he getting at here? Oh, he got me.
I had it ready yesterday. Oh,
That's our Quick Trip take of the day. Brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Don't cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. You might even find. And spicy chicken sandwiches, which might be the
At center for Appleton
the
West.
moment's gone, Armin. Let
yeah, it's
Billy
gone.
finish.
It's
I'm
gone.
sorry. The
Sorry,
spicy
bud.
chicken sandwiches. Go ahead.
Or maybe a pothole pizza, which I'm a big fan of there at Quick Trip as well, because that's going to be the post game tonight. Big game here tonight, fellas. Arrowhead and Muskego. Very, very excited. Very, very excited. Looking forward to
Good
it.
luck, Billy. I hope you
Thanks.
guys
We're
win.
potentially need it. It's
Huge
going to be a
game.
big game.
We'll see.
Big game in the Classic 8. Big game in the Classic 8. Come on. Let's go
Believe
get
in you.
one.
Believe in your guys, and when they're under the lights on Friday night,
Yeah.
they get introduced.
At center for
There it
Appleton
is.
West Jr. 6'11", number 42, Brian Butch.
If I'm
There
called,
it is.
if I'm
With
called-
gusto.
if it's me at high school, I'm just making him 7 foot. I'm gonna make it more intimidating for the opponent. If 6'11", forget that. Just call it 7.
Yeah, you probably
Yeah.
got to write just 7 down. Just like you always add 15 pounds to whatever that weight was on the depth chart. Holy cow, they got a 340-pound senior named Billy Schmid. What the hell? That is potentially what it goes down. John, safe travels to Nashville.
Indeed.
Lucky for you that you were able to potentially dodge that Schneemann bullet. Hopefully you can go out and, maybe experience something, have some fun.
27-16 Packers.
Let's go. That's the score prediction for John Kuhn. If you guessed it and it's right, you're going to be a contestant coming up next week on You Better You Bet. 24-14 Packers. Armin?
2017 Packers, barely under. Packers covering depending on the lines. Well, no, they're winning. Never mind. They cover outright. They're winning. Yeah. 20-17 Packers.
I thought we almost just heard Armin pick against the Packers
No.
here, John, in a
No,
last
no.
second moment.
No, we're winning.
Wow, that would have been a great one. Winning, only winners here this weekend. And we'll report right back here coming up on Monday. John will be on the broadcast. So catch up on Packers OT. Hand it off to Heller right after this.